Hit it, boys.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Well, good afternoon. A very warm welcome to Football Live, powered by NairaBet. I'm Dean Kilford on this very special footballing Saturday, where we serve as the appetizer to this evening's main event, when Nigeria take on Cameroon in the last 16 of the African Nations Cup. We've got our fantastic team of reporters around Europe once more as we bring you action from England, Scotland, Spain, Germany and Italy, while we also try and take in and digest that unbelievable news from Anfield yesterday, when Jurgen Klopp announced he will be stepping down as Liverpool manager at the end of the season. But let's start with today's action. One of our featured games is already underway from the Zweite Bundesliga, where Osnabrück are hosting Paderborn. Osnabrück are currently bottom with just one victory in the league, while Paderborn are trying to bounce back from last weekend's defeat following a run of 3 successive victories. An early red card and a potential upset could be on the cards, as Matt Key is at the Stadion and the Bremerbrück. Good afternoon to you, Matt.
Good afternoon, Dean. Good afternoon to our Football Live listeners. And yeah, could have a shock on our cards here, because Osnabrück not on 9 points this season, 8 points behind 17th place Rostock. I've got a huge chance to pick up some massive points here, because Paderborn, who are 7th in the league, have gone down to 10 men already. We're just 17 minutes into this one, but Kai Klefich has been sent off for 2 yellow card offence. Couldn't have any complaints. The first one stopping a counter-attack, the second one a 50-50. He was second too. The referee, no choice but to produce the second yellow, and therefore the red. And it's a big game for Paderborn if they're going to get anything out of it. It's going to be a mountain to climb now. We've played 20 minutes here, and it's still Osnabrück 0, Paderborn down to 10 men 0.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Matt. Just about a half hour or so gone in that game. Upset could be on the cards. Speaking of upsets, the English FA Cup is known for upsets and giant killings. The fourth round already underway. Last night, holders Manchester City left it late, but finally scored a goal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium as Nathan Ake's late strike sent them through to the fifth round. They're joined by Bournemouth, who thrashed Swansea 5-0 late on Thursday evening. Today, we'll see if National League South side Maidstone United can channel the magic of the cup and cause a big upset against Championship high flyers Ipswich Town, who haven't reached the fifth round of this famous competition for 16 years. Could Ipswich's focus on Premier League promotion see them take their eye off the ball? Well, let's join Matt Smith, who can bring us the team news from Portman Road. Good afternoon to you, Matt.
Good afternoon, Dean. Good afternoon, Football Live listeners. Well, this is Ipswich Town and Maidstone United's first ever meeting in a competitive match, and Maidstone are the lowest ranked team remaining in the competition, so it could be a little upset. That's what we're looking for today, a little bit of drama. There's no pressure on Maidstone though. They've already made history by going the furthest this club has ever gone in the competition. There is 8 Ipswich changes from the 1-1 draw away to Leicester. The likes of Connor Chaplin, Marcus Harness, Wes Burns are all on the bench. Maidstone only make one change. It's Paul Appiah is in for Reece Greenidge. He's on the bench from their 1-1 home draw to Braintree. So far in this match, Dean, we're 1 minute in, and Ipswich have, they're at home, so they're pitched, they're used to it. It looks really nice, really the ball skidding off the ground. Really nice standard of football getting played already. Maidstone are just trying to bide their time at the moment. It's still Ipswich 0, Maidstone 0.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Matt. The Maidstone fans travelled in big numbers to Portman Road. Inflatable bananas in tow as well. It's a colourful scene behind the goal for the away visitors, looking for a big upset for their side. In fact, let's go straight back to Portman Road, where the home side have had a big chance in the early goings of this one.
Yeah, a big chance, only 2 minutes in. It's a lovely ball from Omari Hutchinson, who's on the right wing. He's put it onto his left, and he swung it all the way over the back to the oncoming left-back, Cameron Humphreys. He's sort of 6 yards out, but he's a bit wide. The angle is quite acute. He sets it back to Nathan Broadhead. I don't think he knows what's going on. It hits him in the face. It goes out for a goal kick, but really it's a chance that maybe if he's a little bit sharper on his toes, I think it's maybe a big chance. 2 minutes in, Ipswich 0, Maidstone 0.
Well, thank you very much, Matt. Of course, a big day for the manager of Maidstone United. Not only is he trying to see his side through to the fifth round of the FA Cup from his Cameroonian roots. He'll also have a big eye on this evening's Afcon game against the Super Eagles come 9 o'clock this evening. Over to Scotland now, and the title race is starting to heat up. Just 5 points separate leaders Celtic from their bitter rivals Rangers, although Rangers do have a game in hand. Could they put the pressure on their Glasgow rivals with victory today over a St Mirren side that have lost their form in recent weeks? Well, Paul James is at Ibrox for us on Football Live, and a very warm welcome to you, Paul, with the latest team news and the early goings on.
Good afternoon, Dean. Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, 2 changes for St Mirren. Colin Boyd-Munns is out and Mark O'Hara is in. Conor McMenemy is out, Lewis Jameson is in. 4 changes for Rangers: Balogun out, Goldson in, Mantonda out and Sterling is in. They've dropped to the bench. Fabio Silva is out completely, and Cyril Dessers, the Nigerian, is in with 11 goals this season. Ross McCaulland is out and Scott Wright is in. St Mirren versus Rangers.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Paul. It's just about 3 or 4 minutes so gone at Ibrox. Over to the Liga now, where Real Sociedad are enjoying a very good season, currently sit in the Europa Conference League places with just 4 defeats this season. They have also shown a resilience with a defence at the joint 3rd best in the Liga. They'll fancy their chances against Rayo Vallecano's side that needed a stoppage time equaliser from Bebe to earn a point in the reverse fixture back in October. I'm really delighted to join Richard Parr to the Football Live team, and he's at the San Sebastian Arena and can bring us the latest team news ahead of kickoff. Hello, and a very warm welcome, Richard.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dean. Yeah, it's 6th place Real Sociedad facing Rayo Vallecano, and they're looking to make it 4 straight wins in all competitions. They booked their place in the Copa del Rey semi-finals in midweek. Sociedad make 4 changes from the side that beat Celta Vigo in La Liga last weekend. Mikel Merino is suspended, but the man linked with a possible move to Arsenal, Martin Zubamendi, comes in. Nigerian forward Umar Sadiq starts up front, with top scorer Oyathabal on the bench. Japanese star Kubo is still at the Asian Cup. 1 change for Rayo, Chavaria comes in for the suspended Garcia. Coming up in La Liga is Real Sociedad versus Rayo Vallecano.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Richard. Just over 20 minutes or so to kick off in that one in the Liga. Let's go straight back to Portman Road, though, where Ipswich Town, a very changed side, but proving the form books right in the early goings of this one.
Absolutely right. I did question why there were so many changes made by Kieran McKenna, but you understand it's Maidstone. They're in a little bit of a lesser opposition, but Jeremy Sarmiento has just rocketed a fantastic shot off the post. He's given far too much time and space. He's just sort of on the edge of the box. The defenders are just giving him acres and acres of space. No one's pressing him. He gets a right foot shot. It goes right across the goalkeeper Lucas Hoyland's goal. And he can't get a fingertip to it. It does rocket off the post, but it's cleared. With 5 minutes in, Ipswich have had 3 or 4 chances at goal here. Maidstone, this could get ugly. 5 minutes in, Ipswich 0, Maidstone 0.
Yeah, it really was shocking how much space Sarmiento had. There was about 6 or 7 yards around him. No Maidstone player in the vicinity of the Brighton loanee. Ipswich very much on the front foot in the early goings at Portland Road. Europe this afternoon is at the Stadio Alberto Braglia, home of Serie B's Medina. The definition of a mid-table team: 7 wins, 7 draws, 7 defeats from their 21 league games. They host league leaders Parma, who are on an 8-game unbeaten run in the league and looking to return to Serie A. I'm delighted to welcome Football Live's Jacob Collick, who has the latest team news for us ahead of this one. Good afternoon to you, Jacob.
Good afternoon, Dean. Thank you very much. Medina have made a host of changes following their 4-2 defeat away to Palermo, including in goal. They've been struggling to score goals of late and seem to have changed shape to a back 5, perhaps hoping to shake things up. There's only 1 change for Parma, however, as Koulibaly comes in for Del Prato following a stellar 3-0 win away over Sampdoria. Parma haven't lost in the league since November. It's been really a tale of 2 different teams here. Medina winless in 6, conceding in 11 straight games. Parma on a 6-game streak of just being very, very good. They're at the top of the league. While, as you say, Medina comfortably mid-table. Though if anything is to say between these 2 teams, they've had a series of 1-1 draws. So perhaps we'll see something a little bit unusual for both these teams today.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope for plenty of goals in all of our games that we feature on Football Live, because that's what we like. Whilst we are awaiting our first goal of the afternoon, let's check in with John Kane and get the latest odds powered by NairaBet.
Here's John Kane. with all the very latest odds from NairaBet.
Yes, thank you very much, Dean, and welcome everyone to NairaBet's website. Of course, all these prices are subject to change. And the English FA Cup, 7 minutes gone, is still 0-0 between Ipswich Town and Maidstone Town. Ipswich's odds are 1.07, so we talk about literally next to nothing. The draw is 11.0, and away win for Maidstone today is 19.0. If you look inside for the goals, so if you're interested in any goals, if you think it's going to be, let's have a look. Do beg your pardon, I've just went to the wrong page here. If you think it's going to be over 3.5 goals, it's 1.80. So over 3.5 goals is 1.80. If you think both teams to score, it's just gone up to 2.60. The other game that we're concentrating on is St Mirren against Rangers. 9 minutes gone, is still 0-0. St Mirren at home, they're 12.0 for the win. The draw is 5.50, and again, Rangers are firm favourites for that. They are 1.25. The other game is coming to half time with Paderborn playing with 10 men away to Osnabrück. Still 0-0. Osnabrück are 1.73 for the win. The draw is 3.30, and Paderborn away win is 5.50. Just quickly going back to the Scottish Premier League, the odds on St Mirren has gone down to 11.0. It's gone up for Rangers to 1.29, and it's still the draw for is 5.50. Of course, all these prices are from NairaBet, and they're all subject to change.
Good stuff. Thank you very much. As ever, John Kane giving us the latest powered by NairaBet. They are, of course, subject to change. Straight back to Portman Road, where the woodwork has been rattled again, Matt Smith.
Yeah, again, it's Amari Hutchinson, which is, I tell you now, Ipswich's most bright player at the moment in this opening 9 minutes. Cutting from the right. Again, too much time and space from Maidstone. There's just a difference in sharpness, a difference in sort of match fitness, it seems. And he's cut it in onto his left foot. He's hit a shot. It has deflected off of Sam Corn, and it looks like it's going in. The keeper's stranded. He's in no man's land, and he's just watching the ball. It looks like it's going to go over his line, but it hits the post, and it's cleared away. That's the second time in 10 minutes Ipswich have hit the post. I've got to say, it's only a matter of time, I think, until Ipswich get the opening goal. Maidstone are holding on by the skin of their teeth. They haven't had a sniff. 10 minutes in, Ipswich 0, Maidstone 0.
Thanks very much, mate. Yeah, it does look a bit like a walking procession for Ipswich Town as they're walking through the Maidstone defence. Once more, another golden opportunity for the home side. Lucas Coverland, the former Worthing goalkeeper, making a fantastic save to keep the scores level. Let's go straight back to Matt Smith and hear about that chance.
Yeah, there's spaces left, right and centre. Goodness me, you might want to stay with me for the rest of the show. It's craziness how many chances Ipswich are getting here. Maidstone look out of their depth. It's a great through ball. I think it might be Sam Morsey that plays it through to Nathan Broadhead. Nathan Broadhead gets the ball stuck underneath him a little bit, and I think it forces quite a good save, but I think Nathan Broadhead might have to do a little bit better. It's 10 minutes in, Ipswich 0, Maidstone 0.
Yeah, really good save from Lucas Coverland. Broadhead's the man with the shot. Lucas Coverland, very interesting facts about him. He was once followed by a documentary in Brazil. They followed a career, a season of his down in Worthing when they were down in the Isthmian Premier League, which is step 7 in the English League. They are now Worthing alongside Maidstone United in the National League South. Maidstone 4th in the table as it stands. But of course, this FA Cup run has been somewhat of a positive distraction for them as they look to bounce back to the National League proper. Let's go and check back in the game at the SMISA Stadium. St Mirren taking on Rangers. The odds lengthening for Rangers. Does that suggest that St Mirren have made a positive start to this one, Paul?
Well, it's a very steady start by both teams, actually. The only real chance came from Todd Cantwell's cross that was picked up on the edge of the box by Cyril Dressers, who struck the shot, but it was a comfortable save by Middlesbrough low knee Zach Hemming. At the moment, it's still St Mirren 0, Rangers 0.
Good stuff. Thank you very much. Goalless in the Scottish Premiership, St Mirren 0, Rangers 0, as you just heard. Goalless in the English FA Cup, Ipswich Town versus Maidstone United. There have been goals in the Zweite Bundesliga. Hansa Rostock 0, Elversberg 1 just before half-time there. And Wehen 1, Hertha Berlin 0 is a latest score. Kovacevic with the goal midway through the first half for Wehen. That's given them the lead over Hertha Berlin. Okay, the big breaking news from yesterday came from Anfield. I mentioned earlier on the show, Jurgen Klopp is to step down as Liverpool manager at the end of the season. This is his official statement that he released to the media yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, I have to. I will leave the club at the end of the season. I can understand that it's a shock for a lot of people in this moment when you hear it the first time, but obviously I can explain it, or at least try to explain it. And I love absolutely everything about this club. I love everything about the city. I love everything about our supporters. I love the team, love the staff, love everything. That I still take this decision probably will, or shows you that I'm convinced it's the one I have to take. It is that I'm running out of energy. I have no problem now. Obviously, I think I know it already for longer, that I will have to announce that at one point. But I'm absolutely fine now. But I know that I cannot do the job again and again and again and again.
Jurgen Klopp there, his big announcements. Fatigue playing in. He's been for 7 years manager of Liverpool. He's done absolute wonders there. The big question is going to be what happens next for Liverpool. We will digest that through the course of the afternoon. But meanwhile, we've had the first goal of the afternoon. It's come in the Scottish Premiership.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And it's Nigerian Cyril Dessus who's got the goal for Rangers. They lead by 1-0. St Mirren really going to put the pressure on Celtic at the top of the Scottish Premier League. It's St Mirren 0, Rangers 1. And the Nigerian Dessus with the goal that has given Rangers the lead. You're listening to Football Live.
From the beginning.
Hit it, boys. You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brila FM. Join Corner Corner where the big boys play.
If you're betting on sports this week, why not make your money go further? Sign up to NairaBet for 11 days of risk-free betting. If your bet loses, you will get your stake back as a free bet up to 2,000 Naira. All you need to do is register a new account with NairaBet today and qualify to get up to 22,000 Naira in free bets. Visit www.nairabet.com/bonus for more information. General and free bet terms apply. Must be over 18. Must be KYC approved. Must place a qualifying bet. Bets must include football, tennis or basketball markets. Please gamble responsibly.
FA Cup fighting talk continues tomorrow afternoon on Football Live, exclusive to Brila FM. Tomorrow afternoon on the Frequency of Champions. First up, we have a big brawl in the Black Country, and there's no love lost when West Bromwich Albion take on Wolverhampton Wanderers in one of English football's most notorious local derbies. Norwich City are looking for a cup shot. Can the Canaries provide a knockout blow to Liverpool's quest for more cup glory? It's the Reds against the Canaries up at Anfield. There's a new heavyweight in Spanish football. Girona look to keep their title bid on track in La Liga when they go up against Celta Vigo. Our featured match in the Bundesliga promises to pack a punch. Strugglers Union Berlin take on bottom of the table Darmstadt in a relegation 6-pointer. Join me, Barry Swain, for all the fighting talk from 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon on Football Live, live and exclusive right here on the Frequency of Champions, Brila FM.
No, I mean, Harry.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live.
Hit it, boys.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Well, no one's giving Maidstone a fighting chance in the FA Cup. They've got their goalkeeper and the woodwork to say for keeping things level in that game at Portland Road. Meanwhile, let's go to the game up in Scotland, the Scottish Premier League. Let's hear about the opening goal. Rangers taking the lead with Paul Smith.
Well, thanks, Dean. Yes, it was a long ball over the top from Ridvan Yilmaz, and Cyril Dressers got behind the defence, rounded the goalkeeper, and put the ball in the net for the Nigerians' 12th goal of the season. Then Mirren responded with a chance from Buamo, got a volley in from just inside the 18-yard box, but it was a comfortable save by Jack Butland. So there's 17 minutes gone here. It's St Mirren 0, Rangers 1.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much there, Paul. Straight back to Portland Road. Then let's hear about a succession of chances for the host, Matt.
Goodness me, I don't know how this one is still 0-0. This time it's, two before you last came to me. Amari Hutchinson again coming in off that right onto his preferred left foot, and he's bending it right round the goal and forcing a fantastic save again from Lucas Coverland. And about 2 minutes ago, Sam Morsey again given too much time and space, and he's about 35 yards out, but he thinks, sod it, why not? And he hits another great sort of a drilling shot low, and he's got to force that keeper to get down low and save. But Coverland has done his job. He's kept Maidstone in it. It's 18 minutes played. Ipswich 0, Maidstone 0.
Thank you very much, Matt. You just wonder, Ipswich keep missing these succession of chances, whether Maidstone are just going to get the chance and cause a big upset in the FA Cup fourth round. It's half time in the Zweite Bundesliga. Osnabrück taking on 10-man Paderborn, goalless at the break. Here to summarise that for us on Football Live is Matthew Key.
Yeah, and since the red card to Kyle Flitch, Osnabrück have puffed and puffed, but they've not really been able to create anything of note. A couple of times, a nice bit of football, just can't quite find the final ball, which leads to a really good chance. The best chance actually just come on the stroke of half time, and it was for Paderborn, the team with 10 men, just showing what threat they can be on the counter attack. It was the two forwards, Conte and Platt, that combined, and after making a great unselfish run down the right hand side, Conte squared it to Platt, and he just missed a shot off target. Should have probably hit the target with it, but in the end it was about a yard or two wide. So just a warning for Osnabrück. As I say, they're bottom of the league, could really do with 3 points here, but they're going to the break all level. It's Osnabrück 0, Paderborn 0.
And you see, with against 10 men, you can kind of see why Osnabrück are bottom of the Zweite Bundesliga. 0-0 against 10 men. Paderborn will join Matthew Key for all of the second half action in Germany. So we started to talk about that shock announcement from Anfield, Jurgen Klopp to step down as Liverpool manager at the end of the season. Let's get the reaction from around the footballing media world to that news.
With some massive breaking news in the world of football, Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp has announced his decision to step down as manager of Liverpool.
It's hard to just put it. He's brought so much to the club. It's hard to just put into a sentence. He means everything to the club, everything to the fans, and, like say, to the city as well.
The manager of the English Premier League club, Liverpool, has announced he's stepping down.
Everyone's shocked. Everyone's shocked. Mate, it's a sad day.
I will leave the club at the end of the season.
I've got some bad news to break, unfortunately. Jurgen Klopp's announced that he's standing down as manager. End of the season.
It's crazy.
You're joking. No, I'm not joking. You're a Liverpool fan, big Liverpool fan. Absolutely. How do you feel about that? Gutted.
But I know that I cannot do the job again and again and again and again.
Well, devastated. I can't understand why he's leaving.
For you, the love grew for you, and the least thing I owe you is the truth. And that's the truth.
There we heard from not just Jurgen Klopp, but many around the media and those connected with the club. Many fans upset, shocked, dismayed by the news that Jurgen Klopp will be stepping down at the end of the season. The front runner from that is a man who's currently leading an rather surprise charge at the top of the Bundesliga. Bayer Leverkusen manager Marcus Alonso, of course, former Liverpool player. He's the big favourite. We'll hear from him shortly. Before we do, let's go back to Scotland and the SMISA Stadium. Paul James is there to tell us not about one chance, but two chances at either end.
Oh, yes. Well, it started with St Mirren. The ball was picked up on the edge of the penalty area with so much space for Kwon Hyun Kyu, but he struck the ball over the bar. He got his foot underneath it and drilled it over the bar. And then right at the other end, Taverner, the captain for Rangers, had the shot from the edge of the penalty area, which beat the goalkeeper all ends up and struck the post. It is still St Mirren 0, Rangers 1.
Thank you very much, Paul. And straight back to Portman Road. Ipswich piling on the pressure still.
Piling on the pressure still. But indeed, Dean, it's a corner this time. Amari Hutchinson with a nice swing corner from onto his left foot, obviously. He's swung it in. And George Edmondson, the unit that he is, drugs his defender off in the box. And it's a free header within about 8 yards. And he's headed it down, but he's headed it right down in front of him. And so therefore it's bounced so high over the bar. It's a massive chance. And like you said, 23 minutes gone and these chances go a-begging. All Maidstone need is one chance, and I think if they hold on and they get a draw, it's a replay back in on their home turf. So it's a massive incentive. They're getting half chances here and there, but Ipswich need to start putting these chances away. Otherwise, Maidstone will start to believe a little bit more. 23 minutes played. Ipswich 0, Maidstone 0.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Matt. Just before I went to those breaks, I spoke about Marcus Alonso, of course, the former Chelsea player. I'm sure he'd love a chance at managing Liverpool. Xavi Alonso was the man that I was referring to, the man in charge of Bayer Leverkusen. Let's hear from him now on those links to him with the soon-to-be vacant Liverpool job.
To be honest, I am not in that moment to think about the next step. I'm thinking about where I am right now. And I think that I am in a great place, and I am enjoying, and I think it's the right place. So that's all I can say. I don't know about the paces. My pace is what's going to be at the pace of the team on Saturday, to be honest, because that's what really matters. And I'm going to be happy when we are playing well, and we deserve to win. And what's going to happen in the future, I don't know, and I don't really care at the moment.
So a rather stiff rebuttal from Alonso being linked with the vacant job at Anfield. Let's just bring in Football Live's John Kane just to try and mull over this rather shocking news coming from Anfield yesterday. I don't think anyone saw it coming, did they, John?
No, not at all. And apparently he told the board back in November. So the board knew about it, but obviously the fans, the whole world didn't know anything about it until yesterday. And it has been a shocking news. I mean, Klopp did win everything, didn't he, with Liverpool? So as far as he's concerned, he got the job done, didn't he? He came in, he won the league, he won the Champions League, he won the Club World Cup. But I think the hardest problem is now is who to bring in. There are so many contenders for the job. You just heard from Xavi Alonso, who seems to be enjoying himself at Bayer Leverkusen. And personally, I think it'll be a mistake for him to leave in so early in his career as a manager, and especially when Bayer Leverkusen doing very well and with no pressure either. I mean, going to Liverpool could be completely different pressure, and I think Xavi Alonso would know this, being an ex-player. But that doesn't rule out, isn't it? Some other people might come in. Steven Gerrard has been mentioned, surprisingly. He's not doing great at Al-Ittifaq, which they're happy to extend his stay for the foreseeable future in Saudi Arabia. But it's hard not to mention him, isn't it? He's always going to be mentioned, being the legend that he is at Liverpool. And of course, personally, I think last month, I'm sure some people noticed it about Ange Postecoglou being a Liverpool fan since he was a youngster. Now, would that tempt Daniel Levy to let him go? Well, money talks when it comes to Tottenham. We've seen that so many times with Daniel Levy. Well, there's the money, he'll do anything. So I would not personally rule that out. But personally, whoever is going to come in is going to be is got a big reputation to fill, isn't he?
An easy job to walk into, not it's a big footsteps to fill for the man that, or indeed women, you could never rule out, that takes over in charge at Anfield. Let's just join Richard Parr, if we can, who's covering Real Sociedad versus Rayo Vallecano for us, just to get his thoughts. A man we've not spoken about so far, Roberto De Zerbi. Football, of course, revolutionised Brighton Hove Albion from the Graham Potter days. He pushed on a Premier League's most fanciable watching teams. That's a terrible phrase, but that's the one I'm going with. What's your take on it, Richard?
Yeah, well, the news from Jurgen Klopp, which came through yesterday, was absolutely shocking. It was a surprise. No one expected it. As we've heard, Klopp's known since November. So Liverpool probably do have a little bit of a plan in place. And when you talk about plans in place, that's certainly what Brighton and Hove Albion normally have up their sleeve. And I've said on record before that for a manager of the quality of Roberto De Zerbi to leave, he needs to go to a big club, a mega club. And I was thinking maybe he'd replace someone like Carlo Ancelotti at Real Madrid if he leaves at the end of the season, or one of the big Italian sides. But now that a club like Liverpool have become available and in the fray, does that mean that he would be interested? Would Brighton allow him? Probably yes. Is he high up on Liverpool's list? I'm not sure he's as high as, say, Xabi Alonso due to the connections with the club, but he would be an excellent addition for Liverpool. His style of play is fantastic. I think it would be a really good move for the Reds.
Indeed, it would. With the young players Liverpool have got through as well, it kind of suits the way De Zerbi plays, youthful, quick between the lines, and Liverpool have those young players already being bedded into the team by Klopp right now.
Yeah, and players like Alexis McAllister, who De Zerbi knows really well. He knows how to play a new style of football. You know, we've seen Pep Guardiola move fullbacks into central midfield, and that's because of Roberto De Zerbi. Liverpool have been doing the same with Trent Alexander-Arnold. De Zerbi's style has already been reflected at Anfield.
And just one further thing, just question the timing of it. Yes, the board may have known since November, but why now? Why do you think on the eve of the fourth round of the FA Cup, where they take on Norwich tomorrow, that they've made the announcement at this time? Do you think they should have saved it to the end of the season, or is now the right time to just let everyone know?
I'm not really sure. I can't remember a time where it's been a good time to announce it earlier in the season, where a player's leaving or a manager's leaving. I guess Klopp wants to say, I'm going to give all of my focus, all of my energy to fight all these different fronts, especially in the league, and that he's going to give it all his effort, and that's going to be it. Whether it pays off, I'm not sure.
Well, time will tell. Thank you very much, Richard. He's covering Real Sociedad versus Rayo Vallecano for us. We're just a couple of minutes away from kickoff in that game. Let's go back to Scotland, where the home side are starting to get their world back into this one, aren't they, Paul?
Yeah, they're actually looking pretty good, and they've just had an opportunity with a free kick by a foul by Goldson on Ayunga. The free kick was taken by Lewis Jameson. It was ballooned over the crossbar, but St Mirren coming close to getting back in this game. It'll be their first win against Rangers in 12 years if they're able to pull it off. St Mirren 0, Rangers 1.
Thank you very much, Paul there. So still Rangers leading against St Mirren, closing the gap at the top of the Scottish Premiership as it stands to just 2 points. Let's head over to Portman Road, Ipswich Town versus Maidstone United. It seems like a succession of chances every time I come to you, Matt Smith, but you're here to report an injury rather than a shot for once.
Yeah, to be fair, there hasn't really been many chances for either side. And the last sort of 6-7 minutes that have passed by, Ipswich are still controlling possession. They've got 79% of possession, can you believe? And Maidstone are yet to record a shot, let alone on target, a shot at all. We're 30 minutes in. It was Lamar Reynolds who was coming down the left wing. It was against Axel Twanzebe, a former Manchester United defender playing right back today for Ipswich. He's one-on-one with him, and he's beaten Twanzebe. I think Twanzebe's had a little bit of frustration, a little elbow or a little arm out trying to defend. And Lamar Reynolds has gone down, but he's got nothing from Anthony Taylor, the referee today, and he's gone down, received a little bit of treatment, but he's up and running again. 31 minutes played. Ipswich 0, Maidstone 0.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Matt. So let's just bring you up to date with some of the scores elsewhere. We're just kicking off in the second halves in the Zweite Bundesliga. Hansa Rostock 0, Elversberg 1 is the latest score. Wehen 1, Hertha Berlin 0 is also the latest score. We haven't kicked off the second half in our featured game on Football Live, where Osnabrück are level goalless against 10-man Paderborn. We will be joining Matthew Key very, very shortly for details, as that game has now actually just kicked off in the second half. In the English FA Cup fourth round, Ipswich Town 0, Maidstone United 0, latest score in the Scottish Premiership, as you just heard from Paul James. It's St Mirren 0, Rangers 1. We've just kicked off in our games in the Liga. The game we're featuring Real Sociedad versus Rayo Vallecano, goalless there. There's been a slight delay to the game. We're covering in Serie B. Modena versus Parma. It's been a little bit of a delay. That's just about to kick off. Also in Serie B today, Como versus Ascoli, Cremonese versus Brescia, Sudtriel versus Cosenza, and Venezia versus Ternana. They're the other games going on Serie B today. We'll also bring you goals as they go in from Atalanta versus Udinese that kicks off at 3 o'clock. In the Bundesliga, there will be a game. We'll be able to bring you the early goals from the game between Augsburg and Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich, of course, looking to close the gap on leaders Bayer Leverkusen. They're 4 points adrift of the current Bundesliga leaders with 44 points from the 18. Bayer Leverkusen 48 from the same number of games played. Let's just get a quick check-in back in Scotland. There's been another chance for the home side, I believe, Paul James.
Yes, that's right. St Mirren really getting back into this game now and starting to take control. A flick header on by Jonah Ayunga led in Lewis Jameson one more time, who struck the shot, and Jack Botland was forced to make a great save with his legs. At the moment, St Mirren really starting to gain control of this game as time goes on, but they're going to have to start taking these chances. It's St Mirren 0, Rangers 1.
Thank you very much, Paul. So just to round up our Jurgen Klopp talk, let's just rejoin John Kane once more, just to get the names that are in the mix. There might be some that we're expecting. There might be some unusual ones. John, have you compiled a detailed list of those that might be in the front running for this job?
Yes, I have, and I've got a few names here that actually they're not an hour about odds. So just want to make that clear. It's just what the general odds going around at the moment. Xavi Alonso, he is definitely the favourite. He's a firm favourite for the post, followed by Roberto De Zerbi. Pep Lenders is actually third in there. Zinedine Zidane comes after that. Julian Nagelsmann, he's there on there as well, followed by Steven Gerrard. Erik ten Hag is there, believe it or not, and followed by Ange Postecoglou. I mean, these are probably the 7 or 8 people that, for the time being, they are the ones who are actually linked. So I'm sure we expect more coming later on.
Indeed, John, and you wonder, as we were discussing earlier with Richard, the announcement and the succession planning, potentially they might already have a name in the mix. Only time will tell. Thank you very much, John, giving us the names in the hat for a change rather than the latest odds. And of course, I just must stress that those aren't odds from NairaBet. They're just the names that, generally speaking, have been discussed when discussing that vacant position at Anfield. Let's go straight back to Portman Road, where Ipswich Town have hit the woodwork again, Matt Smith.
I can't believe it. It's Jeremy Sarmiento again, the Brighton loanee. Again, he's bursting away with his blistering pace, and he's arguably around 25 yards out. He puts it onto his favoured left foot, and he hits it. It comes off Paul Appiah, the Maidstone centre-back, and it flicks all the way over the goalkeeper. Again, he's rooted to his spot. He can't do much about it, and thankfully it hits his crossbar. But Ipswich, 35 minutes in, they've had over 10 shots. I think it's 12 or 13 shots they've had without a goal. Maidstone still haven't had a shot on goal. So, Christian Walton in goal for Ipswich is sitting there thinking, I might as well have a shave. Maidstone aren't getting anywhere near that final third, but Ipswich, they must be getting frustrated. Frustration must be setting in both for Kieran McKenna and the players. You'd argue that maybe at half-time, will he want to switch a few things around just to make sure we get this game sorted early on? 36 minutes played. Ipswich 0, Maidstone 0.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Matt. So still goalless. Mason holding on, a bit of fortune going their way, and they'll need it if they're to progress through to the 5th round of the FA Cup, or at the very least to try and earn a replay, big money spinner, and potentially then the chance of a cup shock. We'll see if they can still hold on in the remaining minutes of the first half as you're listening to Football Live.
From the beginning.
Hit it, boys. You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brila FM. Join the corner where the big boys play.
If you're betting on sports this week, why not make your money go further? Sign up to NairaBet for 11 days of risk-free betting. If your bet loses, you will get your stake back as a free bet up to 2,000 Naira. All you need to do is register a new account with NairaBet today and qualify to get up to 22,000 Naira in free bets. Visit www.nairabet.com/bonus for more information. General and free bet terms apply. Must be over 18. Must be KYC approved. Must place a qualifying bet. Bets must include football, tennis or basketball markets. Please gamble responsibly.
FA Cup fighting talk continues tomorrow afternoon on Football Live, exclusive to Breeler FM. Tomorrow afternoon on the Frequency of Champions. First up, we have a big brawl in the Black Country, and there's no love lost when West Bromwich Albion take on Wolverhampton Wanderers in one of English football's most notorious local derbies. Norwich City are looking for a cup shot. Can the Canaries provide a knockout blow to Liverpool's quest for more cup glory? It's the Reds against the Canaries up at Anfield. There's a new heavyweight in Spanish football. Girona look to keep their title bid on track in La Liga when they go up against Celta Vigo. Our featured match in the Bundesliga promises to pack a punch. Strugglers Union Berlin take on bottom of the table Darmstadt in a relegation six-pointer. Join me, Barry Swain, for all the fighting talk from 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon on Football Live, live and exclusive right here on the Frequency of Champions, Breeler FM.
No, I mean, Harry.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Yeah, it's going to be an action-packed afternoon tomorrow. Be sure to join and tune in with Barry Swain and the team as they bring you all of the games around the F Cup fourth round, the Championship, League One, the Asian Cup, and so much more. But we've got plenty of games ourselves going on. Let's check in with some of our 2 o'clock kickoffs. Will start in Spain, the San Sebastian Arena, and the big game going on between Rayo Vallecano and Real Sociedad, the hosts. Richard Parr is there for us to give us the early goings on in that one.
Yeah, it's been a feisty encounter so far, Dean. It's been more about the challenges on the pitch rather than the chances. We had an elbow to the head of Rodriguez, albeit a little bit accidental on the Rayo Vallecano midfielder. There was also a yellow card given to Oscar Trejo for a pretty dangerous sliding tackle. And it's Omar Sadiq, the Nigerian forward, who had the best chance of the game so far, but he couldn't get the ball out of his feet. We're about 8 minutes into this match, and it's Real Sociedad 0, Rayo Vallecano 0.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Richard. So still goalless in that game. It's an absolute melee in the box at Portman Road as Maidstone United still somehow holding on. Let's go to Scotland, the SMISA Stadium, where St Mirren are putting the pressure on Rangers.
Yes, another golden opportunity for St Mirren. Ayunga just brought the ball down on the edge of the box, laid it off to Kwon Hyung-kyu on about 25 yards out, and he struck the shot. It seemed to be narrowing into the bottom left-hand corner, but Jack Butland got across and made a superb save. But St Mirren looking very dangerous as this half has gone on. I don't believe they'll want the first half to end right now, but it is St Mirren 0, Rangers 1.
Thank you very much, Paul. But just how a Maidstone United level, Matt Smith?
I don't quite know. It's Sonny Eluko who's had arguably the biggest chance of this game, 40 minutes in. It is a bit scrappy. I know you spoke about the melee in the box, a bit scrappy, bit of a sort of ricochet off players, and it came out to Jack Taylor, who puts a shot in towards the goal. It doesn't seem to be going in, but Sonny Eluko has a real deft touch, and the ball spins perfectly to be hit on the next touch. He's maybe 6 or 7 yards out, I would say. All he has to do is get it on target. I think it's going in. A point-blank shot at Lucas Coverland, but he can't get a shot off, and the shot that he does produce is a very weak shot wide of the goal. It's another chance goes a-begging. 41 minutes played. There's been 14 shots for Ipswich, but it's Ipswich 0, Maidstone 0.
Yes, thank you, Matt. He's got to hit the target from there. An absolute gilt-edged error there from Eluko. Let's check in for Italy for the first time this afternoon with Jacob Collick, Medina versus Parma. How's the early goings on in that one?
It's been a very strange game. Medina, the hosts, have had maybe 2 or 3 touches of the ball altogether. Parma have been absolutely dominant, but have been unable to do anything with that whatsoever. Di Chiara just now absolutely wasted a free kick. It was passed to him while he was wide, and he sent a ball in that was meant to get nicely into the box and ended up just going out for a goal kick. That being said, Medina, as much as they've not been really able to produce anything, they've also not been showing too much weakness. Parma have really only been able to get one shot away the entire game. So it's been a little bit of a strange one. Both teams don't seem quite ready for this game, to be completely honest. It's been a couple of, just over a week for both of these games. But as it stands, it's heading into the 12th minute. It is Medina 0, Parma 0.
We step away from Serie B and we've got a goal in the FA Cup.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Chance after chance after chance after chance for Ipswich Town, and it's Maidstone United that have gone up the other end to break away to take the lead at Portman Road. Here's Matt Smith to describe it.
Oh my God, the scenes. Ipswich are throwing bodies forward to try and get a goal, but before half-time, it's a lofted ball, though, that I think it's Paul Appiah that plays in Lamar Reynolds, and he's got loads and loads of time. All the Ipswich defenders have gone up for a corner, and Lamar Reynolds has got all the time and space, and he just dinks it all the way over the top of Christian Wharton. It shows confidence. It shows really good confidence going forward, and a little bit of flair. And he's lobbed it all the way over the Ipswich goalkeeper. And can you believe it? 43 minutes played. It's Ipswich Town 0, Maidstone United 1.
Unbelievable scenes from the away fans at Portman Road. The man that's played for Braintree, Concord, Chelmsford, Leyton Orient and Newport has now scored what could be a famous goal for Maidstone United in the FA Cup. Kept his cool, kept his composure to lob the ball over the goalkeeper and send Maidstone United fans into dreamland. Right, let's switch attentions to the Zweite Bundesliga. Osnabrück, bottom of the table versus 10-man Paderborn. Has there been any signs of a breakthrough in this one, Matt?
Well, we're 55 minutes into this one now, Dean. Plenty of changes have been made from both sides. It was free for Paderborn at the break with just a 1 for Osnabrück, but it's one of the substitutes that's come closest. And once again, it's Paderborn that have gone closest. It was a hoof ball up the top, which the Osnabrück keeper comes out and deals with. And as he clears it, he gives it straight to Adriano Grimaldi, who's very much a journeyman in the German second, third tier. And he uses all of his experience, sees the goalkeeper off his line and floats an audacious effort. It's over his head, but it's just wide of the post, agonising for him. He thought he'd broken the deadlock, and that would have given Paderborn 1-0 lead. They're playing really well here with 10 men. They're coming more and more into the game as it goes on, and Osnabrück, you can just tell the lack of confidence they're playing with. We're about an hour into this one. It's still deadlocked. It's Osnabrück 0, Paderborn 0.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Matt. Osnabrück just can't buy a goal against 10-man Paderborn. I can tell you there has been a couple of goals in the second half at Wehen. They doubled their lead. Kovacevic doubled his tally for the afternoon to make it 2-1 5 minutes after the break. And then Kenny has just pulled one back for Hertha Berlin. John Joe Kenny has just pulled one back to make it Wehen 2, Hertha Berlin 1. That is the latest score, just at the hour mark in that game. The other game going on in the Zweite Bundesliga right now, Hansa Rostock 0, Elversberg 1. Schnellbacker's goal just before halftime. The difference between the two sides in, I'm just going to change tracks for a second. Going to head back to Italy. We've had the opening goal.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And it's Modena who have taken the shock lead against Parma, the league leaders. It's Modena 1, Parma 0. That's the latest score. We'll join Jacob Kulik very, very shortly for details of the opening goal in Serie B. That's the only goal in Serie B of the 5 games that are currently about 15 minutes on. It's the one we're featuring right here live on Football Live. Let's head back to Scotland. Just approaching half-time, Sunderland versus Rangers. Paul James, any side of either side, Rangers either extending their lead or whether St Mirren can get back into it.
Well, St Mirren have certainly dominated over the last 25 minutes or so, really since the Rangers' first goal. Chances for Jameson, Ayunga, and forced good saves out of Jack Buckland. But as we approach half-time, in fact it is half-time now, it is in fact still St Mirren 0, Rangers 1.
Thank you much, Paul. Let's go then to Italy and hear about that Battistella goal with Jacob Kollick.
Well, who saw this coming? Battistella with an absolutely stunning goal. The defence was just backing away from it. It's only his second goal all season, but it's an absolute stunner of a goal from nowhere at all. He was given maybe a little bit too much room by the defence, but the shot was near unsavable by the goalkeeper, who managed to get just a small amount of his hand on it, but otherwise was unable to keep it out. The last time these two teams played, Modena scored with their only shot on target. I wouldn't be surprised to see the same thing again today, because that was a fantastic goal. I can't see Modena replicating it, though they've really shown very little. But as it stands, it's Modena 1, Parma 0 in the 18th minute.
Thank you very much, Jacob. It's half-time. The game at Portland Road in the FA Cup fourth round. Ipswich Town 0, Maidstone United 1. What a first half, Matt Smith.
What a first half indeed. Ipswich had the majority of everything. The ball, possession, the chances. They had fantastic chances very early on. Amari Hutchinson swung a high ball to the far post. Cameron Humphreys volleyed it back. Broadhead wasn't ready and the ball ricocheted off his face, but the chances didn't stop there. Coverland in the Maidstone goal was called into action numerous times after that. Maidstone's post being hit twice and the crossbar once. Sarmiento hit the post with his right foot, a right foot shot right across the goal off the post, and a deflected left foot strike off the crossbar as well. Sonny Elokobi dragged the shot wide from 5 yards out. Maidstone couldn't get a sniff, and they regret taking those chances, Ipswich. Just before half-time, Maidstone broke away from an Ipswich corner. Lamar Reynolds found himself with only the keeper to beat. He calmly and confidently lobbed Christian Walton and sent the travelling Maidstone fans crazy. David versus Goliath, they were saying, but David is edging it at the moment. It's Ipswich Town 0 at Portman Road. Maidstone United 1. Can they do it?
Can they do it? We did say, didn't we, Matt? We were talking about it during the game. Are Ipswich going to be made to pay for all of those missed chances? I mean, is it 3 times they hit the woodwork in that first half?
Yeah, 3 times. They've hit the post twice, and Coverland's been rooted to his spot. He can't do much about it. They haven't really had the luck. They haven't had the luck of the green where it just bounces in off the post or bounces in off the crossbar. They've hit the woodwork 3 times. They've had 17 shots in total. They haven't scored. Maidstone have had 1 shot, and that's been their goal. That's all it took. We said it early on in the game. All they need is 1 chance, and that 1 chance they've taken. Ipswich must see changes at half-time. The likes of Connor Chaplin coming on. You'd argue that they might want to bring on another forward player. But goodness me, Ipswich are going to have to change something, otherwise they will crash out at home to a side in the National League South, Maidstone United. They occupy 4th spot in the league, Maidstone. Ipswich sit 3rd in the Championship. What a strange game of football.
Indeed. So I just want to grab your thoughts. We spoke about it earlier about Jurgen Klopp leaving at Liverpool. What's your take on that? Surprised that the decision was made now? How do you think Liverpool fans are reacting to this news?
I think Liverpool fans are reacting like true football fans. You have to say he's done incredible things at the club, and no matter whether you're a Liverpool fan, Manchester United fan, Everton fan, as much as you might not dislike him or you might have your opinions on him, he is a fantastic manager, and he treats players with utmost respect. He's almost like a father figure to all these players, and it'll be a shame to see him go wherever he goes. I think the Premier League will lose a very, very influential and really fantastic manager.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much, Matt. We're back for you very, very shortly for the second half at Portland Road, Ipswich Town versus Maidstone United. Maidstone United with a shock lead as it stands from one manager who's done great things at Liverpool. I suppose we should talk about one manager who's doing great things right now for Maidstone United. I'm talking about the man from Cameroon, George Elokobi, the former Wolves player, is doing great things at Maidstone United in the National League South, looking for promotion and looking to take his side to the 5th round of the FA Cup. He talked with us here on Football Live yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, I think obviously Cameroon being the national sport is football, and wherever one of their compatriots is at or playing or coaching, they just want to support. And I'm no different to that. When we beat Barrow, it made national news in Cameroon, in my region, the little town I came from, Kumba, and the college I went to, St. Joseph's College Sase, was an inspirational moment for everyone connected to George Elokobi. And yeah, back in Cameroon, the messages I've been getting has been overwhelming. They've come via text messages, they've gone through Twitter, Instagram, the social media platforms, but more so even had calls from the British Cameroonian consulate in England as well. So that's to tell you the magnitude of what I'm doing. I'm the first Cameroonian to have ever managed an English outfit, let alone being the 4th round of the FA Cup as a manager.
Indeed, a big proud Cameroonian, and he will certainly have both eyes on tonight's big game in the Afcon against the Super Eagles, Nigeria. It really is one of those heavyweight clashes of the Afcon. And we're going to hand you back very shortly to FJ and the team in Lagos just to really start building up the preview ahead of today's kickoff at 9 o'clock. Meanwhile, I can tell you there's been a second goal in Serie B.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And it could be a real shock on the cards as Medina have scored a second goal and lead league leaders Parma by 2-0. So a big shock in Serie B in Italy. Medina 2, Parma 0 is a latest score. Let's hand you back now to Lagos. FJ and the team will be back very shortly here on Football Live.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Well, welcome back to Football Live. Big thanks to FJ and the team in Lagos, building up, of course, that big game in the African Cup of Nations, last 16, Cameroon versus Nigeria. It's sure to be a good one. Okay, we've got plenty of action and plenty of goals going on in our games featured on Football Live this afternoon. Let's go and hear about a second shot goal in Serie B. The game featuring league leaders Parma, who are behind to Medina by 2-0. Let's hear about that second goal with Jacob Kollick.
It was some absolutely awful defending by Parma, but fantastic ball control by Abusio, who shrugged off one defender, dribbled around another, and finished neatly into the bottom left corner past the goalkeeper. There were some shouts for a foul when Abusio was pushing onto the ball. He did shove one of the defenders off of it, but it was waved away by the referee despite some complaints by the Parma bench. It's a third goal of the season for the 20-year-old. The 22-year-old Baristella as well scored earlier in the game, perhaps showing that a little bit of faith in youth has proved Medina very well today. But Medina have only won 2 of their last 11 games against Parma. This really would be a massively shocking result if they're able to pull off this win against the league leaders, historically against whom they have done very poorly. But as we stand in the 36th minute, it's Medina 2, Parma 0.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, Jacob. Let's head to the San Sebastian Arena. We're about 10 minutes from half-time in our featured game in the Liga. Real Sociedad versus Rayo Vallecano. Goalless last time we heard Richard Parr. Any signs of a breakthrough in this one?
Dean, this isn't a game for the neutrals, this one. There hasn't really been too many open chances. There's only been 2 shots in the whole game overall, and only one of them was on target. There's been more yellow cards. There's been 2 yellow cards for Rayo Vallecano. Plus, there's been one for their manager on the sidelines, Francisco Rodriguez. There has been an injury for Real Sociedad, though. Zakarian, the Russian midfielder, had to come off injured with an ankle injury. And on comes Bryce Mendes, who scored last week in their win over Celta Vigo. We're 38 minutes into this game. It's Real Sociedad 0, Rayo Vallecano 0.
Sounds like the heavyweight clash that we're promoting tomorrow over in Spain. Still goalless, Real Sociedad versus Rayo Vallecano. Let's head back to Scotland, where Rangers led at the break with about 5 minutes into the second half. And Rangers almost extended their lead, didn't they, Paul?
Indeed they did. Well, it started at half-time with Pedro Casina making a double substitution to add some potency into the Rangers' attack. Lawrence and McCausland came on for Wright and Cantwell, and it almost took effect immediately with Tom Lawrence laying the ball off for James Taverner, who struck the ball over the crossbar. Rangers just having another chance as just before you arrived. Tom Lawrence again striking a shot, but again it was just wide. Rangers looking a bit more threatening at the start of the second half. St Mirren 0, Rangers 1.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Paul. Let's head to the big shock that could be on the cards at Portman Road. Ipswich Town losing to Maidstone United. Ipswich Town had 20 shots in this game, 4 of which on target. Maidstone have scored with their only shot in this game. How's the second half started, Matt?
Well, the second half has started much like the first half. The majority of it was anyway. Ipswich are all over Maidstone. Maidstone are just sitting and waiting for those chances. Like they did with their goal, they sat back and soaked up the pressure, and then they launched a counter-attack, and that's exactly what they're doing in the opening sort of 5-6 minutes of this second half. They looked a little bit bright about 2 minutes ago. Ipswich are throwing men forward all the time. They want to try and get back in this game ASAP. But Maidstone have got a little bit of pace on the wings and up front with the likes of, the Lamar Reynolds who scored the goal. Emmanuel Sunduku as well has got pace, blistering pace to worry the Ipswich defence. But it did still remain Ipswich 0, Maidstone 1 after 51 minutes.
And Matt, just a word about the sun in this one. It's really playing as the eyes now of Lucas Coughlin, the Maidstone United goalkeeper. Didn't seem to be much of a factor in the first half. That's probably because the ball was never at that end of the pitch. Could that potentially cause an issue for Maidstone United?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I think he needs to go and get one of his cap out. I think you see that in Sunday League, Saturday League sort of football. The goalkeepers have got a cap. I think one of the coaches or one of the support staff for George Elokobi will surely send a cap round just to make sure that everything is, not one thing can go wrong for Lucas Coughlin. If he can get a cap, if he can get some sort of coverage on that, that'd be great. But it didn't really faze Christian Walton, like you say, because there was nothing up there. Didn't really have to test himself. But if Ipswich carry on their form as they have been in the first half into the second half, he's going to need some extra bit of support. That's for sure.
Indeed, I'm sure, as Ipswich Town laying siege to the Maidstone United goal. Well, not quite so much in the second half, but certainly need to find the back of the net if they are to remain in the FA Cup this season. Back to the game in Scotland, where Rangers have had yet another opportunity to double their lead, Paul.
Yeah, they've started this second half with a purpose, Rangers, and the cross came in on the far side from Tom Lawrence right to the back post. A free header for Dujan Sterling, and he headed it over the crossbar, and that was a golden opportunity. He looks thoroughly disgusted, but it is still St Mirren 0, Rangers 1, but you just feel Rangers are going to extend the lead in this one.
Well, the crystal ball is out for Paul James for Rangers to get a second goal in that game. Let's head to the game in the Zweite Bundesliga, Osnabrück versus Paderborn. Matthew Key is there. We're into the final 6 minutes or so. Any sign of an Osnabrück opener?
Oh, they've just come so close, Dean. And I tell you what, I've just heard Matt Smith talking about goalkeepers wearing caps. Well, I'm lucky enough to be seeing that here because Pele Bovink is got a cap on in the Paderborn goal, and he's just produced a brilliant save. It was Eric Engelhardt from a corner. Really strong header back across the goalkeeper. It's back where he came from, but he manages to readjust, take a step to his left, and then tip it over the bar for another corner. Agonising for Osnabrück. Played so much of this game against 10 men, but still can't find the deadlock. Can they find what could be a crucial goal in the last 5 minutes here? Osnabrück 0, Paderborn 0.
Just a few minutes to go, potentially to find the opening goal in that one. Can Osnabrück do it? Will Paderborn hold on? Let's go back to Scotland. Rangers have come very, very close again, Paul.
Oh, it's relentless by Rangers in this second half. Lundstrom laid the ball off for the Nigerian Cyril Dessers, who was so close to getting his 13th goal of the season. His shot took a deflection which the scrambling goalkeeper Zach Hemming couldn't reach, and it hit the outside of the post. But right now it's all Rangers, and it's St Mirren's 0, Rangers 1.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Paul. And I can tell you there's been a goal in the FA Cup fourth round.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
He had the best chances of the first half. He's equalised in the second half. The Brighton loanee Sarmiento with the goal. Let's hear about it with Matt Smith.
And it's just what they needed. It is that man, it is that Brighton loanee. It's Jeremy Sarmiento. He receives the ball off, I believe, Sam Moores. I think it even might be Jack Taylor. And Sarmiento's he's gone off the shoulder of Gavin Hoyt. And Lucas Copeland's not happy at all. The space that Hoyt has given Sarmiento again, he shifts it onto his right foot. He's just inside the Maidstone box. And instead of curling it round the keeper, I think he gives him the eyes and he pulls it right to the near post. And Copeland's got to change his course and go to his near post. But he does. He beats him. Sarmiento puts Ipswich level. It's Ipswich 1, Maidstone 1 on the 56th minute. Game on.
It was a really intelligent strike, went through the defender's legs. Also took a little nick off the defender, didn't it there, Matt? Just to further take it out of the reaches of Lucas Copeland, who you felt might just have been able to keep that out had it not take that slight little nick.
Maybe, potentially. I'd argue that maybe he does need that cap after all. Ipswich have just made 2 changes there. Harry Clark has come on. Connor Chaplin has come on. I think Leif Davis has come on as well. So again, it's all changed for Ipswich. They're going to maybe try and put this game to bed earlier, sooner rather than later. Get those fresh legs on there. And I think this one, if Ipswich can carry on and get those chances and take those chances, this one could go swing the other way. But Maidstone are still in it. At the moment, as it stands, it's going to a replay, and that's what they'll be wanting, that's for sure. 57 minutes played, Ipswich 1, Maidstone 1.
So thank you very much, Matt. It's time to check in once again with John Kane to get the latest odds powered by NairaBet.
Here's John Kane with all the very latest odds from NairaBet.
Yes, all the latest odds from NairaBet. Of course, all these prices are subject to change. It's Ipswich Maidstone 1-1, as you just heard, and its betting is suspended. So I'll keep you up to date with anything that's happening in that game. Rangers, St Mirren. Rangers are leading St Mirren by a goal to nil. St Mirren are 34.0 for the win. It's just gone down to 8.0 for the draw, and it's 1.1 for a Rangers away win. Ipswich Maidstone has gone back again, 57 minutes gone. As you just heard, Ipswich 1, Maidstone United 1. Ipswich has just gone down to 1.27. The draw is 4.0, and away win for Maidstone has just gone up to 25.0. About 3 minutes or so left plus stoppage time in the German Bundesliga's fight between Osnabrück and Paderborn. Still 0-0 there. Osnabrück are 4.75 for the win. The draw is 1.29. And if you think Paderborn will come in and win it, they only need that one goal, is 17.0. Real Sociedad and Rayo Vallecano still playing the first half, still 0-0 in the La Liga. Real Sociedad are 2.15 for the win. The draw is 2.40, and away win to Rayo Vallecano is 6.0. So just quickly go back to the English FA Cup. 58 minutes gone. There's 1-1 between Ipswich Town and Maidstone United. Ipswich are at 1.27. The draw is 4.0, and Maidstone to win is 21.0. Of course, all these prices are from NairaBet and is all subject to change.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, John Kane. That gives us the latest odds powered by NairaBet. Of course, those odds are subject to change. And they almost did change in the game at Portman Road, where Ipswich Town were close to turning it all the way around, weren't they, Matt?
They were indeed, and it's come from the training pitch. It's a free kick. Leif Davis has it just outside the Maidstone box, but it is very wide, and it's definitely a training ground routine. Connor Chaplin has come out of the box a little bit, and he's sort of come away from all the traffic that's in the box, and he's looking for a short little cutback. Leif Davis obliges, gives the cutback to Connor Chaplin. Chaplin hits it first time, but it does go over. He maybe scuffs it a little bit. He's frustrated with himself. But another chance goes a begging. They'll have plenty more. But it's 59 minutes played. Ipswich 1, Maidstone 1.
Yeah, Ipswich Town striking towards the Bobby Robson stand. Their fans expectant. Meanwhile, let's head to La Liga, where there has finally been a big chance in a game that has offered not much so far for Richard Park.
Oh my goodness, Dean, I was really worried about my half-time report there because I was going to have nothing to tell you. But we have finally really for Real Sociedad. It was a good attack on the left-hand side by Andre Silva, the loanee from Leipzig. He squared it into the substitute Bryce Mendes, who had a vicious shot, but it was tipped over the bar by Dimitrevski, the goalkeeper for Rayo Vallecano. We're in added on time in the first half. It's Real Sociedad 0, Rayo Vallecano 0.
Great stuff. Thank you very much.
From the beginning.
Hit it, boys. You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brila FM. Join Corner Corner where the big boys play.
If you're betting on sports this week, why not make your money go further? Sign up to NairaBet for 11 days of risk-free betting. If your bet loses, you will get your stake back as a free bet up to 2,000 Naira. All you need to do is register a new account with NairaBet today and qualify to get up to 22,000 Naira in free bets. Visit www.nairabet.com/bonus for more information. General and free bet terms apply. Must be over 18. Must be KYC approved. Must place a qualifying bet. Bets must include football, tennis or basketball markets. Please gamble responsibly.
FA Cup fighting talk continues tomorrow afternoon on Football Live, exclusive to Brila FM. Tomorrow afternoon on the Frequency of Champions. First up, we have a big brawl in the Black Country, and there's no love lost when West Bromwich Albion take on Wolverhampton Wanderers in one of English football's most notorious local derbies. Norwich City are looking for a cup shot. Can the Canaries provide a knockout blow to Liverpool's quest for more cup glory? It's the Reds against the Canaries up at Anfield. There's a new heavyweight in Spanish football. Girona look to keep their title bid on track in La Liga when they go up against Celta Vigo. Our featured match in the Bundesliga promises to pack a punch. Strugglers Union Berlin take on bottom of the table Darmstadt in a relegation six-pointer. Join me, Barry Swain, for all the fighting talk from 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon on Football Live, live and exclusive right here on the Frequency of Champions, Brila FM.
No, I mean, Harry.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Well, it's half-time in Spain. Goalless Real Sociedad 0, Rayo Vallecano 0. Also goalless in Serie B in Italy. Medina 2, Parma 0 is a half-time score. Let's go and hear about a couple of changes in personnel in the game at Portman Road. Ipswich versus Maidstone. Goal apiece. But there's visitors. Are they looking to stick or twist, Matt?
They're looking to stick, and I think I would be as well. I think this could get ugly if they let Ipswich have any more chances. So George Elokobi's brought on Reece Greenidge, who's a big lump of a centre back. He's brought him on for an attacking player. I think it's Liam Solar's come off, so a winger coming off and a big centre half coming on. I think they're maybe going to go to a back five just to try and hold on for the next 30 minutes, give or take. It's going to be a long 30 minutes, I tell you that. But they're also going to brought on Bivesh Gurung as well for Jacob Berkeley-Agyapong. So it's a couple of changes for Maidstone, maybe a couple of fresh legs, just to try and to see this out. At the moment, they're holding on to a replay, which is maybe the idea of Elokobi, what he wants from his team, just to hold on rather than get beaten 3 or 4-1 and then go out of the competition. They want to try and bring it back to the home turf. But it's still Ipswich 1, Maidstone 1 after 63 minutes.
Thank you very much, Matt. Let's hear how things progressed in that first half in Serie B. The game at the Stadio Alberto Braglia Stadium. And it's a bit of a shock potentially on the cards in this one, Jacob Collick.
Indeed, yes. I reckon that Parma dressing room is either very, very quiet or very, very loud at the moment as they try and figure out what just happened in that half. Medina took that shot lead into the dressing room, having scored 2 goals from their only 2 shots on target all game. Battistella opened the scoring with a stunner after 15 minutes, taking advantage of the room provided by a sloppy Parma defence, firing a rocket of a shot past Chinazzola. Abusio doubled the advantage with some fancy footwork and strength to prevent Osorio from shoving him off, neatly placing his shot to give his side the shock advantage over the visitors. Parma have been huffing and puffing, dominating possession and passing their way around the pitch, but so far they've been unable to do absolutely anything at all convincing with it. They'll have to do something very, very different in the second half if they want to show that they are the champions that they claim to be. They are dominating at the top of Serie B, but you wouldn't think it based off of this game. As we stand heading into the second half, it is Medina 2, Parma 0.
Thank you very much. We'll be back with Jacob for all of the second half action in Serie B. Let's head to the Liga. And it should be a very short half-time report from Richard Park.
Very short indeed, Dean. It was only towards the end of that first half that we saw any real chances. Bryce Mendes, the substitute, had a volley which kind of went wide and didn't really challenge the goalkeeper. But then there was a really good chance for Martin Zubamendi. He's the player who's been linked with a possible move to Arsenal. His effort was tipped over the bar by the Rayo Vallecano goalkeeper. They do still have their top scorer, Martin Oyarzabal, on the bench. Perhaps he'll come on in the second half. But at half-time, it's Real Sociedad 0, Rayo Vallecano 0.
Thank you very much, Richards. In the FA Cup fourth round, Maidstone United took players off to preserve a potential draw in a replay, but they've gone up the other end and scored!
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
It's Ipswich Town 1, Maidstone United 2. Cornet with the goal. The midfield general has given Maidstone the shock lead at Portman Road. Here to tell us about it is Matt Smith.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. If you're an Ipswich fan, close your ears right now. Goodness me. It's Ipswich 1, Maidstone 2. It's Lamar Reynolds who scored the first goal. He set up this time. It's a lazy bit of play from Nathan Broadhead, who's come to get the ball short to try and start an attack. He loses the ball. Very weak weak play. And the Lamar Reynolds has the ball going down the left wing. It's Sam Corn that's getting himself right up the pitch, and he's only really got the keeper to beat. He's got a defender on his tail, but he keeps running, he keeps going, and he slots it past Christian Walton. A nice calm finish. And can I believe I'm saying this? Not really. 66 minutes played. It's Ipswich Town 1, Maidstone 2.
Unbelievable. He's scored the winner against Stevenage in the last round. He scored in the 2-1 win against Barrow in round 2. And he's back on the target in round 4 as Maidstone United lead Ipswich Town of the Championship by 2-1. An Ipswich Town team who, I must stress, have not progressed to the 5th round of the FA Cup for 16 years. Will it be 17 come the end 90 minutes of this game? Let's head back to the game in Scotland. St Mirren make a couple of changes to see if they can stem the Rangers' tide, Paul James.
Yes, head coach Stephen Robinson's seen quite enough and has brought on their leading scorer Mikhail Madron and James Scott in place of Jonah Ayungun and Lewis Jameson, in the hope that St Mirren can try to get themselves back into this game, as Rangers have certainly been the better team in the second half. But we've had 69 minutes gone here. It's St Mirren 0, Rangers 1.
Thank you very much, Paul. There, we'll be back in Scotland should we get that second goal, which you absolutely promised us, Paul. Don't think I've forgotten about that. So, full times in the Bundesliga, the Zwei Bundesliga. Hansa Rostock 2, Elversberg 1 was a full-time score. Elversberg led at the break. Schnellbacher with the goal just before half-time, before Dressel equalised with 20 minutes to go. And a late winner from Boga from the penalty spot after Jackal had been sent off, gave Hansa Rostock all 3 points in that one. Wehen it finished. Wehen 3, Hertha Berlin 1. Kovacevic opened the scoring midway through the first half, and he doubled his tally 8 minutes after the interval. John Joe Kenny pulled one back on the hour mark, but it was that man, the right man at the right place, Shishman Goppel, with the third goal for the home side to give them all 3 points, and a disappointing results for Hertha Berlin. In our featured game, Osnabrück took on Paderborn. It finished goalless, and here to tell us all about that is Matt Key.
Yes, thanks, Dean. 0-0 it has finished here between bottom of the table Osnabrück and Paderborn. The big moment of drama was in the first half, 15 minutes in, when Kai Kalefish was sent off. 2 bookable offences. Osnabrück had all of 70 minutes to try and score a goal, really helped kickstart their season. As I say, down at the bottom, they just couldn't do it. They huffed and puffed, and they forced a couple of great saves out of Paderborn goalkeeper Pele Bobning, but they couldn't find the crucial goal to give them crucial 3 points. It's finished here in Germany. Osnabrück 0, Paderborn 0.
Thank you very much, Matthew. A goalless draw, but maybe a bit of an improvement for Osnabrück. At least they didn't taste defeat this weekend. So Maidstone United leading Ipswich Town in the FA Cup fourth round. This Maidstone United team that couldn't beat Braintree, Slough or Havant at Waterlooville in their previous 3 games are leading second in the Championship, Ipswich Town, at Portman Road by 2-1. Can they hold on for the remaining 20 minutes or so? Well, Ipswich have made a change to try and do something about it, Matt Smith.
Yeah, they've made 2, in fact. It's Wes Burns, who was obviously rested from the start. He's come on for Amari Hutchinson. Again, Amari Hutchinson been one of the bright sparks for Ipswich today. Creative, getting shots off and testing this keeper. But he's off on the 68th minute, so that's the end of his day today. Jeremy Sarmiento is also off as well, so 2 creative players coming off. Gerard Boabo is on, as well as Wes Burns. So that's 2 changes for Ipswich. They've got 20 minutes plus added time to fix this. If they get 1 goal, it's a replay. If they get 2, they win it. But at the moment, Maidstone, goodness me, I can't believe I'm saying it, are 2-1 up, and they seem to be a little bit more confident defending. Ipswich finding it difficult to break down this Ipswich defence. It's the Maidstone defence, 71 minutes played. It's Ipswich 1, Maidstone 2.
I just saw a shot there, and it seems pretty much every single outfield player for Maidstone United was inside their own 18-yard box as they look to hold on to this slender lead against Championship Ipswich Town. Let's just bring it up to date with some of the other scores around Europe. Real Sociedad 0, Rayo Vallecano 0, half-time in the Liga, as you heard Richard Parr covering that one for us on Football Live. In the Turkish Superliga, Alanya Sport 0, Pendik Sport 0 is the half-time score. Not many goals around Europe in the early games here, not just on Football Live, but just across Europe in general. As Ipswich Town look to press another chance, another cross is wasted. In Italy, in Serie B, Como 0, Ascoli 0, Cremonese 1, Brescia 0 is a half-time score. First goal in Italy for the Argentine Gonzalo Abrego, who's on loan from Godoy Cruz, has given Cremonese the half-time lead in that one against Brescia. As we're covering on Football Live, Medina 2, Parma 0. The shock could be on the cards. Battistella and Abiuso with the goals that have given the home side the shock lead against league leaders Parma. It's goalless in the game between Sutterell and Cosenza. And it's also goalless in the game between Venezia and Ternana. But hopefully there'll be some more goals in the second half in Serie B. It just kicked off in the Serie A game. Atalanta taking Udinese into the first minute there. No surprise that game is goalless. So that brings you up to date with all of the scores currently from the games going on. Let's go and check back in the game in Germany. Sorry, not the game in Germany, the game in Scotland. St Mirren versus Rangers. St Mirren have made some changes. Has it altered the pattern of play at all there, Paul?
Not really. They've not been able to break Rangers down quite so easily. John Lundstrom has just been booked for Rangers for a crunching challenge on James Scott. He's gone into the yellow card. It's actually the second Rangers player to go into the yellow card, to go into the referee's notebook. Tom Lawrence was the first. But so far, St Mirren are not able to break Rangers down, and Rangers themselves have not really created much in the last 15, 20 minutes or so. So with 15 minutes left, I hope I can bring you that second goal. At the moment, it's St Mirren 0, Rangers 1.
Thank you very much. So Rangers looking on course to close the gap on league leader Celtic to just 2 points that have played the same amount of games come the end of full time. About 30 minutes or so for Rangers to hold on or potentially extend their lead. We're still waiting to kick off in our feature games in the Liga, our feature game in Serie B. Goalless in the game between Real Sociedad and Vallecano, and Medina leading Parma by 2 goals to 0. Just an interesting stat. There's 98 places between second place in the Championship, Ipswich Town, and fourth place in the National League South, Maidstone United. This is a Maidstone United team that were I don't want to say the word humiliated, but they had a shocking record in the National League. They won just 5 of their games and conceded a shocking 104 goals as they were sent packing back down to the National League South. Of course, they do travel in large volumes down at that level. They do have one of the biggest crowd followings at that level, and they brought that support with them, and they're enjoying what they're seeing here this afternoon. Let's just hear about the big FA Cup game that happened yesterday. It featured the holders, Manchester City, travelling to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, a place where they'd never scored since the final brick was laid down and the final tie was put on the net. They hadn't found the net until 2 minutes from time when Nathan Ake secured all 3 points. Not all 3 points, they secured their passage through to the 5th round of the FA Cup.
Manchester City progressed through to the next round in what was a tense and cagey affair at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, a far cry from that epic 3-each draw at the Etihad last December. Chances were few and far between throughout the game, with the best chance falling to Alvarez on the 48th minute, skying the ball from 6 yards off the end of an Oscar Bob cross. The game looked destined for a replay until the 87th minute, when De Bruyne's cross from a corner was not well dealt with by Vicario, who was tussling with Ruben Dias on the goal line. The rebound falling to Nathan Ake for a tap-in to give City their first goal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and a ticket to the next round. Spurs' hunt for a first piece of silverware in 16 years continues. Man City's quest for a second consecutive treble very much alive. Full time, Tottenham 0, Manchester City 1.
That's how it went down at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium yesterday. Well, a player that has gone down is an Ipswich Town player into the box, but it's not a penalty, but a yellow card for the Ipswich Town player.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the referee, I think, has maybe got it right, Anthony Taylor. It's I believe it's Duku who's gone in with a challenge with George Edmondson, and George Edmondson has, fair enough, he's got every right. Nowadays strikers are getting taught to go down if they feel some sort of contact, although I don't really think there was any contact at all. If anything, it's maybe just tickled his toe, and George Edmondson's gone down. And the big unit that he is, a 6'2", 6'3" centre back, it's a little bit strange seeing a big centre back go down that easy. But he has been booked for his diving. He's getting desperate, Ipswich, it seems a little bit. A chance just 2 minutes ago. Connor Chaplin played a lovely through ball to Wes Burns. Wes Burns really only had to put it in the 6-yard box for Broadhead to get a shot on goal, but it came to no avail. So Ipswich are getting frustrated, not really getting the out-and-out chances that they were in the first half, and they'll be regretting not taking those chances. It's 77 minutes played. Ipswich 1, Maidstone United 2.
Indeed, Matt. It's just really interesting to watch. Maidstone United got a bank of 5 along the width of the 18-yard box, and then a bank of 4 about 5 yards in front of them, as they're trying to completely block out any opportunity for Ipswich to play through them. Well, I'm sure there'll be plenty more drama in the remaining 12 minutes or so at Portman Road. Ipswich Town 1, Maidstone United 2. No, that's right. I did say that was the scoreline. Big shot could be on the cards. The lowest ranked team in the Football League currently in the FA Cup, leading Championship second place team Ipswich Town by 2-1. I can tell you there's been a third goal in the game in Serie B.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Well, whatever was said in the half-time dressing room by the Parma manager has fallen on deaf ears, hasn't it, Jacob Collick?
Yes, indeed. It's Ponzi with his first goal of the season, and it was so easy for them. Parma just didn't seem ready for this at all. Maybe they were expecting a cross into the box from Ponzi, who was forced out wide from the defence, but managed to just neatly place his shot into the far corner of the goal. It was honestly so poor from Parma, as all of these goals have been. They've defended abysmally. I don't know what their defence has been doing, but for a team that have been up near the top of Serie B, for the amount of goals that they've conceded, for the fewest amount of goals they've conceded, for the amount of clean sheets they've earned, this is a shocking performance for them, and is going to really cause some head scratching amongst all of these players. It's going to take a monumental performance for them to come back from this, but it's absolutely fantastic from Modena as we stand in the 48th minute. Modena 3, Parma 0.
Yeah, absolute shock of the cards, and quite shocking defending from the team that are leading in Serie B and did, until today, have the best defensive record in the division. Ipswich Town are laying siege to the Maidstone United goal. 28 shots they've had to Maidstone's 2, but the important stat is the scoreline. Maidstone have scored from both of those. Ipswich Town have scored from just one of their 28 efforts on goal so far. In Serie A, I mentioned it's just kicked off for about 8 minutes into the game between Atalanta and Udinese. I should mention, of course, for Udinese, Maduka Ake, the Nigerian in goal for the visitors today. Atalanta without Ademola Lookman, who will be hopefully featuring this evening in that big game in the African Cup of Nations as Cameroon and Nigeria clash in what is a real heavyweight game to kick off the round of 16 in the African Cup of Nations. I can tell you that we're still the Rangers leading by a goal to nil at St Mirren. About 7 minutes or so left to go there. Let's go and check into the game at San Sebastian Arena. Real Sociedad versus Rayo Vallecano. Just kicked off the second half. It was a rather tense, fracas first half. Not much in the way of chances created as the second half kicked off in the same vein, Richard.
It's a little bit better, Dean, mainly on the part of the visitors, Rayo Vallecano. You've got to remember that Real Sociedad are not only in the Copa del Rey semi-finals, but they're still in the Champions League. They'll face PSG in a couple of weeks, and they're 6th in La Liga right now, 6 points behind Bilbao and Atletico Madrid, with a chance to try and push up for those Champions League spots. But Rayo Vallecano have had 2 efforts from distance from Lopez, one which was pretty easily blocked and cleared, and one which went high and wide. They're putting on a little bit of pressure on in this early in the second half. We're 49 minutes in, and it's Real Sociedad 0, Rayo Vallecano 0.
Thank you very much, Richard. That seems like a brighter start to the second half for you in sunny Spain. I can tell you that third goal for Medina scored by Fabio Ponzi. 22-year-old, it's his first ever senior goal, although he did score once for the Italian under-17 side back in the day. Would be 5 years ago for the 22-year-old. Let's go back to Portman Ipswich Town 1, Maidstone United 2. Any signs of an Ipswich Town equaliser in this one, Matt?
I'd argue maybe not. I think Ipswich are they're camped in the half, but they just can't really get into that final third. There's a little bit of trickery here and there from the likes of Connor Chaplin and these sort of creative players, Wes Burns and all that. But goodness me, Ipswich, this would be frustrating. If you're an Ipswich fan watching this, you're thinking, where have we gone wrong? And I suppose it's just taking the chances. They've had 30 shots in total now, 30 shots. And they've only had 8 on target. They've only scored 1. They've put lots of shots off target. Lots of shots have been blocked. So as much as Ipswich, you have to look at them and question them and go, what's going on? I think we've got to really praise George Elokobi and the way that he's set up. He's leading Ipswich Town, a championship side, away from home in the FA Cup 4th round. This is massive, massive, massive props to the manager, the Cameroonian man. And I think the Maidstone fans will be in heaven right now. 82 minutes played. Ipswich 1, Maidstone 2.
Thank you very much, Matt. 8 minutes or so to hold on for Maidstone United. Let's head back to the game in Scotland to see if Rangers are looking to secure that valuable 3 points they currently have in their grasp away at St Mirren. Paul James is there to tell us about a couple of changes.
Yes, that's right. St Mirren, of course, made their first substitution. Charles Dunn coming on to replace Mark O'Hara. Rangers also making a like-for-like change, bringing on Borna Barashik for Ridvan Yilmaz. Right now, there's not been any real chances from when we last spoke. At the moment, I think it's game management for Rangers now, just trying to see the game out. St Mirren seem to be running out of ideas. It's still St Mirren 0, Rangers 1. There's 6 minutes left here.
Thank you very much for that, Paul. It's an absolute medley inside the Maidstone United penalty area. Matt Smith, can you describe what you've just seen?
I'll try my very best, Dean. There's about 18 bodies in the box there. It's coming from a corner. Connor Chaplin loses his man, and I think he tries to head it. It does come off his shoulder, I believe. It's a good save from Lucas Coughlin. I think he puts it onto the bar, and then hell just ensues. It's just kicking each other, trying to get the ball in the net. Maidstone defenders just putting their body on the line, and eventually Lucas Coughlin around the 6-yard box claims the ball and puts his body on the line and goes, right, you're not moving anywhere now. And Ipswich, another chance goes a-begging, and it's 84 minutes played. Ipswich 1, Maidstone 2, they're holding on.
It was absolutely incredible scenes. There were literally 12 bodies scrambling over this ball, and then Lucas Coughlin with his tall frame just sort of scrambled all over the top of them and grabbed the ball, much like a game of bundles that you used to play in the playground as a child. No, I'm sure some of you will know what I'm talking about. Ipswich Town had been unbeaten in their last 5 home FA Cup games. Their last loss way back in 2020. That was an extra time defeat to Portsmouth. Well, as it stands, they're 5 minutes away from that record restarting again at the hands of Maidstone United, a Maidstone United team that are managed by the Cameroon manager, George Elokobi, and he will be delighted what he's seen with his players this afternoon as they have worked their socks off from the very first minute. They've held on. They've had their slice of fortune. They've got just 5 more minutes to hold out to claim a valuable shock FA Cup giant killing, and that's exactly what this would be if the result was to stay the same. Let's go back to Italy. Modena versus Parma. Parma recovered at all from the shock of that early third goal. Bacon.
Arguably, Modena look more and more up for it than before. Parma just seems to be falling away. They've had a little bit of possession this half, but very few chances. Modena have been just dominant since this half kicked off. It's really shocking for the league leaders to be performing so poorly today. You have to wonder what exactly happened or was said in that dressing room, because it doesn't seem like whatever was said worked. Parma are really going to have to work something out if they want to change. They're making a couple of substitutes as we speak, but we'll see if that's able to do anything at all. I wouldn't be surprised if Modena even went on to score another one, though. It's Modena 3, Parma 0.
Thank you very much, Jacob. The woodwork has been rattled. For once, it's not at Portman Road, but it's at the SMISA Stadium as St Mirren came close to an equaliser.
Oh, yes. Well, it was a corner on the right-hand side. It was swung all the way to the back post. James Bolton was coming in on the back post, headed it. It beat goalkeeper Jack Butland, but did not beat the crossbar, as Rangers have just made a change as well. Rabbi Matonda has come on, and it is still St Mirren 0. Rangers 1. There's 2 minutes to go here.
Thank you very much, Paul. 2 minutes for Rangers seemingly to have to hold on as it stands. Just a reminder earlier on from the Zweite Bundesliga, we brought you Osnabrück 0, Paderborn 0. Paderborn were down to 10 men from the 15th minute of this game. 2 early yellow cards. Saw the visitors reduced to 10 men, but Osnabrück bottom of the table and could not buy a goal. Elsewhere it finished Hansa Rostock 2, Elversberg 1, and Wehen 3, Hertha Berlin 1. They were the full-time score from the early games in the Zweite Bundesliga. It's currently Ipswich Town of the Championship 1, Maidstone United of the National League South 2. Reminder, 98 places separate these two teams in the football pyramid, and it's the team that are very much David that are beating the team that are very much Goliath. So is the story. In Spain, the Liga, Real Sociedad 0, Rayo Vallecano 0 is the latest score in the Turkish Super League. It's Allianz Sport 0, Benik Sport 0. About an hour played in that one. Let's go back to the game in Spain, the San Sebastian Arena, where there hasn't been a chance, but there has been a couple of changes, Richard Park.
Yes, we've got one change for the visitors, Rayo Vallecano. They've taken off Oscar Trejo, who was booked early in the first half, and they brought in the French midfielder, Randy Nteka. There hasn't been too much happened in this second half so far, apart from that early effort from Rayo Vallecano through Lopez, but that went high and wide. It's still Real Sociedad 0, Rayo Vallecano 0.
So thank you very much, Richard. Big opportunity potentially to close the gap for on Atletico Bilbao in that one. Let's check back into Portman Road. Ipswich Town searching in vain for an equaliser, but it looks a long way from coming, doesn't it, Matt Smith?
It does indeed. I have to give Maidstone credit. They are putting their body on their line. They're putting their life on the line for this game. And it means so much to these fans. It means so much to these players that they're going to try and get every player behind that ball and do whatever they can to try and nab this. And nab this they are at the moment. 89 minutes played, and Ipswich don't look like getting that equaliser. Although that could be commentator's curse. I don't want to say that. Ipswich 1, Maidstone 2 on the 89th minute.
Indeed, we would hate for the curse of the commentator to strike Matt Smith. Oh, I tell you what, it almost did cause a curse as Lucas Coughlin, once again, the hero from Maidstone United. What a save that was, right into the top corner of that header, Matt Smith.
Yeah, goodness me, I shouldn't really speak anymore. It's a long lofted across all the way over to Wes Burns, and Wes Burns' head it looks like it's going in the top corner, and I think it maybe is looking to go top corner, or maybe hitting the bar, but Lucas Coverland doesn't know that for sure, and he gets a good left hand on it, tips it over the bar. That's a good save late on in this game. He's gone down, he is injured, he's maybe looking for some treatment, or maybe he's looking to waste a little bit of time. That's what I'd be doing, that's for sure. We've just hit the 90th minute mark. It's Ipswich Town 1, Maidstone 2 with 7 added minutes.
Yes, a lot of stoppage time potentially for Ipswich Town to find an equaliser and prevent the giant killing that's currently on the cards. It's going to be 3 minutes of injury time in the game in Scotland. Rangers currently leading St Mirren by a goal to nil. Just a little tidbit on the Maidstone United FA Cup run. This is actually their 7th game in the competition, despite the fact we're in the 4th round. They had to play some qualifying games to get to this stage. They've beaten Stenning from Sussex, Winchester, Torquay United, Chesham United, Barrow and Stevenage to get to this 4th round game where they're playing Ipswich Town today. They've only conceded 2 goals in that run up until today's game. Ipswich Town corner causing a bit of confusion in the box. I can tell you it's all over in Scotland. Rangers have held on to that slender 1-goal lead. It's finished St Mirren 0, Rangers 1. That result means Rangers close the gap on leaders Celtic to just 2 points with 22 games played apiece. And it'll be really interesting to see the next Old Firm game. How much pressure that will put on Celtic. I can tell you in the Turkish Superliga, we've had the opening goal in that game just on the hour mark. It's an own goal. Akdag has put through his own net to give Allianspor the lead against Bendikspor. It's Allianspor 1, Bendikspor 0. In the Turkish Super League. Let's head to the game at Portland Road, where Lucas Coverland has just been named man of the match. Is any surprise with that, Matt Smith?
Maybe a little bit of a surprise. I might have given it to Lamar Reynolds for his goal. I think it's difficult. Lucas Coverland has been called upon 33 times in this game. And sometimes he's had to put his body on the line, sometimes he's had to save, sometimes he's had to be confident in seeing the ball over the bar. He's had a very good 8.5 out of 10, I would say, but Lamar Reynolds got a goal. He's set up the second one. He's had an instrumental part in this lead, and I think if it stays like this, I think both of those players, really all of Maidstone's players, should be happy with how they've played. They should be ecstatic with how they've played. It's a very good result. Ipswich 1, Maidstone 2 in the 92nd minute.
Thank you very much. Yeah, look at the tall Brazilian stands at 6'4". As I mentioned, he had a Brazilian film crew following for a season when he was a player at Worthing a few seasons ago. How they wish they'd be following his career this season. What footage they'd get from Mason's quite dramatic FA Cup run. It's full time, as I mentioned, the game. St Mirren versus Rangers. Rangers come away with all 3 points. Let's get the lowdown with Paul James.
Yes, final score here. It's St Mirren 0, Rangers 1. The only goal coming on 15 minutes by the Nigerian Cyril Dessers, with his 12th goal of the season, rounding the goalkeeper and putting it home. Chances for Jonah Ayunga and Lewis Jameson, among others, forcing good saves out of Jack Butland. In the second half, of course, St Mirren hit the crossbar through James Bolton on the back post. But in the end, Rangers did enough, and they come away with the 3 points. It's St Mirren 0, Rangers 1.
Thank you very much, Paul. So big 3 points for Rangers, closing the gap on league leader Celtic to just 2 points. I can tell you there's a VAR check on that goal that I reported in the Turkish Superliga. The goal has been chalked off. It's still goalless in the game between Aladyaspor and Bendikspor. Still goals. There's a foul in the build-up to that, so that own goal did not stand. Let's check back into Portman Road. Ipswich Town 1, Maidstone United 2. It's a nerve-biting end to this one for the visiting fans, isn't it, Matt?
Yeah, like Sir Alex Ferguson said, it's squeaky bum time, and that's what it is for Ipswich at the moment. As it stands, they're crashing out at the 4th round of the FA Cup, and Maidstone will be progressing. Ipswich are really trying their very best to get a goal, and goodness me, it looks like it's going to be in vain. Every single Ipswich player is camped in the final third. Even Christian Walton is almost in the halfway line, trying to get involved in attacks to try and start something. But as it stands, that it's going to be too little, too late for any of these chances. It's 94 minutes played. Ipswich Town 1, Maidstone 2. They're holding on.
Thank you very much, Matt. Can they hold on? It's about 3.5 minutes or so left for them to just keep Ipswich at bay, which they've done so well for so long. Let's just run through our featured games in our appetizer for tonight's main event, the African Cup of Nations, last 16 games between Cameroon and Nigeria. Of course, on Brilla FM, we've been covering on Football Live, Osnabrück versus Paderborn. It finished goalless. Osnabrück remained rooted very much so to the bottom of the Zweite Bundesliga. It finished in the Scottish Premiership, St Mirren 0, Rangers 1. It's still going on in the English FA Cup. Ipswich Town 1, Maidstone United 2. A big shot could be on the card. In the Liga, it's still Real Sociedad 0, Rayo Vallecano 0. And in Serie B in Italy, it's Modena 3, Parma 0. You are listening to Football Live.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Well, thank you very much to FJ and the team. You're, of course, listening to Football Live. I believe, if I'm right, this is the 7th time that Cameroon and Nigeria have faced off since their first encounter 40 years ago, pretty much to the year, if my stats serve me right. And all of us are, of course, rooting for Nigeria to come away with the victory and qualify for the quarterfinals come 9 o'clock this evening. It's finished in the English FA Cup 4th round, as we will continue our build up to the African Cup of Nations game throughout the rest of this show. And the big shock has happened. And I can tell you that Maidstone United did hold on to win by 2-1. The team in the 6th tier of the English League defeating the team placed 2nd in the 2nd tier of the English League. Here to tell us about it is our very own Matt Smith.
Well. Ipswich had 18 shots in the first half. They hit the crossbar, they hit the post twice, but they could not get their breakthrough in the first half, and they regretted not taking those chances. Just before half-time, Maidstone broke away down the right wing from an Ipswich corner. Lamar Reynolds received the ball, found himself with only the goalkeeper to beat, and calmly lobbed the ball over Christian Walton and sent the travelling Maidstone fans crazy. Early in the second half, though, Ipswich's hard work paid off. Jeremy Sarmiento received the ball off the shoulder of Gavin Hoyt, struck a sweet shot into the net to equalise and keep the game alive, as well as Ipswich's FA Cup progression hopes. 1-1. Maidstone made a couple of changes to try and hold on to the draw, with a replay back in Maidstone still on the cards. But they weren't parking the bus as they retook the lead. Lamar Reynolds turned provider as he played Sam Corn through on another Maidstone counter-attack, and he confidently slipped it past Walton to put Maidstone one step closer to progression into the 5th round. Maidstone held on, save after save, block after block, bodies being put on the line, and they held on until the very end. It's a George Elokobi masterclass. His Maidstone team have just knocked out championship side Ipswich Town, and they progress to the 5th round of the FA Cup, outlasting both Tottenham and Arsenal in this season's competition. What a moment for the history books. It's finished at Portman Road. Ipswich Town 1, Maidstone United 2.
Wow, indeed. Thank you very much, Matt. Don't think anybody saw that happening at Portman Road this afternoon. Maidstone United through to the 5th round of the FA Cup. The furthest a non-league club have come since the 21-22 season, which was Boreham Wood of the National League. The last time a team from the 6th tier of the English division qualified for the 5th round of the FA Cup was way back in 1984-85. That was Telford United before they eventually lost to Everton in the 5th round. Indeed, no team since the non-league teams that have qualified for the FA Cup 5th round since the war. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The 11th side, Maidstone United, are the 11th side to have achieved that feat. None of them have progressed further than the 5th round. I can tell you that one team has won this competition. There was a non-league team, that was Tottenham Hotspur back in 1901, but they, of course, are no longer in this year's competition. I can tell you there has been a goal in the Turkish Superliga. Alanyaspor had taken the lead, or they thought they had. Their own goal was ruled out for a foul in the build-up. It's now Pendikspor who have taken the lead, and it's the Senegalese striker Mame Thiam who has scored just 12 minutes from time to give the visitors potentially all 3 points. There's been a goal in Serie A. Atalanta 1, Udinese 0. It's the Russian Alexei Miranchuk who has scored 12 minutes before the interval. Atalanta 1, Udinese 0. A big goal for Atalanta in their quest to preserve their Champions League place in Serie A. Let's quickly go and check it at the San Sebastian Arena. Big game going on in Spain between Real Sociedad and Rayo Vallecano. Richard Parr is there for us on Football Live.
Rayo Vallecano haven't beaten Real Sociedad since January 2015, and I don't see that happening here. It's still goalless here at the Real Arena. Real Sociedad have made a triple substitution. They've taken off both of their strikers, the Nigerian Umar Sadiq and Andre Silva. They brought on their captain Oyathabal and Geraldo Becker. They've had one really good chance. It came through Torrientes. He had a stunning left-footed strike, but it was straight at the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper Dimitrevski for Rayo Vallecano did go down for a few minutes after he injured his ankle after taking a goal kick. He's up now. We've got just over 10 minutes of normal time remaining, but it's still Real Sociedad 0, Rayo Vallecano 0.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Richard. Let's head back to Italy to see if Parma have made any kind of fist in it in what has been an otherwise disappointing afternoon for them against Modena.
I'm afraid not. Modena have just been absolutely dominant this half. Unexpectedly so, Parma have not been able to create anything of any serious quality. It's giving Cuomo a chance to close the gap in Serie B to just 3 points between the two of them. If they're able to win against Ascoli. Cremonese are beating Brescia, putting them within 4 points of the leaders. It's a real wasted opportunity for Parma to really show their credentials as Serie A contenders. But a fantastic result for Modena, who've otherwise struggled for goals and struggled to defend this season. It's a shocking result, but one that they will be absolutely ecstatic with, one that the fans are currently celebrating. It's 3-0 to Modena against Parma in the 83rd minute.
From the beginning.
Hit it, boys. You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brila FM. Join Corner Corner where the big boys play.
If you're betting on sports this week, why not make your money go further? Sign up to NairaBet for 11 days of risk-free betting. If your bet loses, you will get your stake back as a free bet up to 2,000 Naira. All you need to do is register a new account with NairaBet today and qualify to get up to 22,000 Naira in free bets. Visit www.nairabet.com/bonus for more information. General and free bet terms apply. Must be over 18. Must be KYC approved. Must place a qualifying bet. Bet must include football, tennis or basketball markets. Please gamble responsibly.
FA Cup fighting talk continues tomorrow afternoon on Football Live, exclusive to Brila FM. Tomorrow afternoon on the Frequency of Champions. First up, we have a big brawl in the Black Country, and there's no love lost when West Bromwich Albion take on Wolverhampton Wanderers in one of English football's most notorious local derbies. Norwich City are looking for a cup shot. Can the Canaries provide a knockout blow to Liverpool's quest for more cup glory? It's the Reds against the Canaries up at Anfield. There's a new heavyweight in Spanish football. Girona look to keep their title bid on track in La Liga when they go up against Celta Vigo. Our featured match in the Bundesliga promises to pack a punch. Strugglers Union Berlin take on bottom of the table Darmstadt in a relegation 6-pointer. Join me, Barry Swain, for all the fighting talk from 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon on Football Live, live and exclusive right here on the Frequency of Champions, Brila FM.
No, I mean that.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Well, a very warm welcome back to Football Live. It's been a great afternoon with already a big giant killing in the FA Cup as Maidstone United pulled off the shock of all shocks to send Ipswich Town of the Championship packing in the FA Cup fourth round. Maidstone United through to the fifth round of the FA Cup. We're going to build up in the last few minutes of this show towards that big game in the African Cup of Nations this evening. Nigeria versus Cameroon, the Super Eagles. Of course, last time these two teams met back in 2019, they won that game 3-2. Igalo's double and Iwobi with the goal to give them a 3-2 slender lead, and I'll be hoping for more of the same here tonight. We caught up with Frank Onyeka ahead of this game, and just to talk about Nigeria's progress in the competition so far.
We need to relax, prepare our mind for the next game. We are just happy that we qualify into the next round, so we look forward to the next round. The group, it was not an easy group, I'll say, but getting 7 points out of the group is a really good one. It's really hard. It's really hard. No games are easy, so we just need to fight our way out.
They indeed, but they didn't just fight their way out. 7 points from their 3 group games. They went through in quite some style. Nigeria have won more games in the competition than any other nation, with 22 victories, having played in more games than any other nation. 40 games played in the African Cup of Nations so far. We'll be building up to that for the remaining 10 minutes or so. I can tell you there's been goals elsewhere in the European games. I can tell you that Atalanta have doubled their lead against Udinese. Scamacca with the goal. The former West Ham player has doubled the lead for Atalanta. They lead Udinese by 2-0 just before the break. Yes, the former West Ham strikers doubling Atalanta's lead. I can tell you Ascoli has scored against Como. Como 0, Ascoli 1 in Serie B in Italy. It's just about 7 or so minutes to go in that one. Odenhal has been sent off for Como as well. It's Mendes' goal with 8 minutes to go that's given the visitors the lead in that game. I can tell there's been an equaliser in the game in the Turkish Super. Alanyaspor 1, Pendikspor 1. Leroy Fer, former QPR player, has equalised for the home side with 8 minutes to go in that one. It's currently level at a goal apiece. There's been a chance in our featured game in Serie B, the game between Medina and Parma. It comes as no surprise to any of you listening this afternoon that Jacob Coates has been reporting that it's gone to the home side.
Yes, indeed. It was a weak shot, but it was a shot nonetheless, and it's more than Parma have been able to muster up for a long time in this game. Both teams seem to have kind of turned the gas off so far. They're both really slowing down. The efforts they're producing are of a lower quality than we saw in the first half. It's disappointing, really, for Parma. I think they would have been hoping for a hell of a lot more from this game. Medina, you can understand them wanting to slow down and calm down with the result, but Parma, I think it's massively disappointing if you're a fan of theirs to see just how little effort they seem to be putting in to try and fight back, or at the very least how little they're able to achieve. But regardless, we've got only a few more minutes left in this game. It's Medina 3, Parma 0, and I can't say I'm expecting another goal.
Optimism is always the best form, Jacob. 3-0. I suppose you've had your fill of goals here this afternoon on Football Live, and so have Medina as they lead the league leaders by 3-0. Let's go and check in the league goalless. Last we heard Real Sociedad versus Rayo Vallecano into the closing moments of that one. Any sign that either side are going to nick a winner in this one, Richard Park?
Absolutely not, Dean. I haven't seen any really good chances in this game. There has been a substitution by Real Sociedad after their defender, Lenormand. He got injured just clearing the ball, and they had to bring on a different defender, Olascasti, on. We've got about 2 minutes left of normal time, plus any stoppage time, but I really don't see either side winning. This will be a big dent to Real Sociedad in their hope to try and get into those Champions League places. They're 6 points behind Athletic Bilbao and Atletico Madrid. But as we're approaching the 90-minute mark, it's Real Sociedad 0, Rayo Vallecano 0.
Thank you very much, Richard. I can tell you it's half-time in a game in Serie A. Atalanta 2, Udinese 0 is a half-time score. Moranchik's goal after half an hour gave Atalanta the lead before Scamacca added a second in injury time in the first half to make it Atalanta 2, Udinese 0. Big result for Atalanta. As things stands, that would see them leapfrog Fiorentina up to 4th in the table. They'd still be 9 points behind AC Milan in 3rd as it stands. Games have kicked off in the Bundesliga. It's about 20 minutes or so gone in the games in the Bundesliga. Augsburg 0, Bayern Munich 0 is the latest score. Bayern Munich in a poor run of form, and Augsburg actually had the ball in the back of the net. A tight offside decision was given. Rakspakak was judged to be offside, and he had his goal chalked off. It's Augsburg 0, Bayern Munich 0. But Bayern Munich, since the winter break, have not returned to the kind of giant juggernaut that we used to seeing from the Bayern Munich club. Elsewhere, it's Hoffenheim 0, Heidenheim 0, Stuttgart 0, RB Leipzig 0, Werder Bremen 1, Freiburg 0. A goal from Dux from the penalty spot. Marvin Dux has scored the goal in that game that has given the home side the lead there. Werder Bremen, of course, beat Bayern Munich in that shock just a few days ago. Got a good draw away at Bochum as well. So potentially return to form for Werder Bremen. They're leading Freiburg by 1-0. There's been a stoppage in the game between Wolfsburg and FC Köln. It's goalless as it stands, but the play has stopped for some reason. Let's go and check back in. We've got about 4 minutes of injury time to be played in Serie B. Medina versus Parma. A couple of minutes into that, you said that it's unlikely to be a fourth goal. Anything changed on that since I was last with you?
Well, Parma are pushing. They're making some moves into the opposition box to try and produce just something, anything. They have scored, I believe, in 11 straight games now. So they would be rather disappointed if they came away from this without having scored. But they're just not able to produce any real quality. We're talking shots from range that go way over. We're talking shots that end up just going wide or are they easily caught. It's been very disappointing if you are a fan of Parma and of the league's top goal scorers until, well, you wouldn't know it after today, but there's only a couple minutes left. Medina trying to run down the clock by making some substitutions, and the Parma players showing visible frustration on the pitch. There's only a couple minutes left. I think Medina will be happily celebrating after this game. The fans are sure to rise in absolute applause of what's been a monumental effort from their players. It's 3-0 to Medina in the 93rd minute.
Thank you very much, Jacob. All 3 points were secured a long time ago for Medina, but it still comes as a shock. I was telling you earlier in Germany about a shock potential goal for Augsburg against Bayern Munich, but then, of course, Bayern Munich, straight at the other end, have taken the lead themselves. Pavlovic has opened the scoring for Bayern Munich. It's Augsburg nil, Bayern Munich 1. And Pavlovic is the man who's given Bayern Munich the lead as they look to try and put pressure on leaders Bayer Leverkusen. Early team news, or I should say late team news, ahead of the 4 o'clock kickoffs in the English FA Cup. And Sheffield United versus Brighton is the pick of the tide from those games. And it's Ben Brereton Diaz starting again for Sheffield United following his move from Blackburn Rovers. And Evan Ferguson comes in for Brighton Hove Albion, a big promising youngster. Hasn't featured in the starting 11 for many of the recent weeks, which has left some fans and pundits scratching their heads as to why. But also Pascal Gross in the starting 11 for the Seagulls in a tough trip to Sheffield United and Bramall Lane. I can tell you there's going to be 6 additional minutes to be added in the game in La Liga. The game between Real Sociedad and Rayo Vallecano. We're about 3 minutes into that game, still goalless between those two in what has been a rather exciting affair in Spain. Stuttgart have taken the lead against RB Leipzig. Stuttgart 1, RB Leipzig 0. And it's Miller from the penalty spot that's given the home side the lead. The Frenchman giving a potential shock on the cards for Stuttgart, leading by RB Leipzig by 1-0. Ascoli have doubled their lead against Como as well. Como 0, Ascoli 2 is a latest score, and it has finished Medina 3, Parma 0. That's a full-time score. I can tell you that Stuttgart, I can tell. I was going to tell you again that Stuttgart has scored. I'm very excited about that particular goal. Obviously, that's Stuttgart have scored. It's just flashed up for me yet again. Let's go and check in the closing moments in Spain. Real Sociedad versus Rayo Vallecano deep into added time, and it looks like it's going to peter out into a draw, doesn't it, Richard?
Yeah, this wasn't the debut I really wanted on this show, Dean. A goalless draw between Real Sociedad and Rayo Vallecano. We've got about 2 minutes left of added time. Real Sociedad's best chances of the game came just before half-time when Zubamendi had a shot which was tipped over the bar, and then Turrientes had an effort in the second half, but he lashed it straight at the goalkeeper. This is going to peter out to a goalless draw. It's not the result that Sociedad need in their battle to get into the Champions League places. So with just over 2 minutes left, it's Real Sociedad 0, Rayo Vallecano 0.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Richard. Well, hopefully something that will get you excited. It's the big game in the African Cup of Nations. Nigeria taking on Cameroon. I've got the latest odds powered by NairaBet. Nigeria 2.15 for victory in the 9 o'clock kickoff. The draw 3.20. And if you fancy Cameroon, they are the outsiders. It's just dropped to 3.75 for Cameroon if they were to go through to the quarterfinals of the African Cup of Nations. Just the winner of the tie, if you wanted to see if it went through to extra time and penalties, it'd be 1.44 for Nigeria, 2.62 for Cameroon. And then the big value bets are if you fancy a tight game and under 0.5 goals. If you fancy to be goalless at full time, 5.50 on that particular stat. Or if you fancy it to be a goal heavy game, 9.50 if you think there'll be over 4.5 goals like there were last time. These two teams faced off in that 3-2 win for the Super Eagles. As I mentioned earlier, it finished in Serie B, the game we're covering on Football Live. Medina 3, Parma 0. Here to tell us how that went down is Jacob Collick.
Medina ran out 3-0 winners as they hosted Parma in what was a shocking result for both teams. Parma hadn't lost since November and Medina were winless in 6. The first goal was a sign of things to come. Poor defending gave Battistella too much room, enabling him to score a thunderous goal that rocketed past Chinazzola in the Parma goal. The second came only a few minutes later, seeing Medina take advantage of some absolutely awful defending from Parma. Their defenders all over the shop as a ball was launched from deep, neatly controlled by Abusio, placing his shot to double the host's advantage. Half-time came and went and Parma failed to show anything different, Medina adding another almost immediately as Ponzi scored his first senior goal after even more poor defending. Parma had been the runaway leaders of Serie B. They'll be hoping this result doesn't undo a strong season up until now, though thankfully for them, Cuomo failed to win, meaning their advantage at the top of Serie B remains fairly strong. Modena, though, will be looking onward and upward, away from mid-table where they've been safely sat up until now, perhaps even looking to reach Serie A for the first time in the club's history since being refounded in 2018. It ended here, Modena 3, Parma 0.
Thank you very much, Jacob. So that result sees Parma remain top of the table, but that gap is now just 4 points. Venezia getting the victory earlier on against Ternana by 1-0 sees them close the gap to 4 points, and Cremonese leading by 1-0 would also see them on 41 points from 22 games. So Parma's lead reduced to 4 points at the top of Serie for Medina. Well, it's a big result for them. It would see them leapfrog Brescia up into 8th in the table, and that could be a big result in terms of them looking to get into that playoff place to look for promotion for Serie A. I can tell you there's been some goals in the Bundesliga. Heidenheim have taken the lead away at Hoffenheim. They lead by 1-0, and Freiburg equalised against Werder Bremen. It's Werder Bremen 1, Freiburg 1. I can tell you it is full time in Spain. It's finished goalless between Real Sociedad and Rayo Vallecano. Here to wrap that up very quickly for us is Richard Park.
Yeah, neither side really deserved that victory at all. That's why it's finished goalless here at the Real Arena. 2 good chances from Sociedad. In the first half, you had an effort from Zubimendi, and in the second half from Torrientes. It's a dent in their Champions League campaign, trying to get in that 4th place, and it's finished Real Sociedad 0, Rayo Vallecano 0.
Thank you very much, Richard. Well, we've had some great games on Football Live over the course of the season. I don't think today's will live long in the memory, although the big result for Maidstone United at Ipswich Town may well stay with you. But today is all about the Super Eagles. We're going to hand you back to FJ and the team in Lagos. This is what it's all about. The African nations, last 16. Nigeria versus Cameroon. You'll hear it here on Brilla FM. We'll see you tomorrow on Football Live.